goddamn piece of shit software developers fucking up the goddamn world every day of our lives. Hi! Hey! What's up, guys? It's Skycatlive. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at the software developers at the start. I didn't mean to do that. It's 6/17/2025. Sorry, just the customary piece of shit software developers failing caused me to reset my computer 3 times in a row already. It's so I was just like, Jesus Christ, I just like immediately started thinking about how much damage they do to me all the time. I'm sorry. So it's Tuesday. It's 80 degrees out. It's 2:10 in the afternoon on 6/17/2025. Hi, I'm Skycatlive. I woke up at 9:30 this morning. I went to the fucking gastroenterologist. I came in at 116 blood pressure, which was the lowest I think I've ever had, which is good. I usually am around 148, but I was 116 today, which was really good. And it has been steadily lowering. My blood pressure has been going down as I get more healthy, and I get piece of shit software developers out of my life, and I stop playing piece of shit software fucking developer cesspits like Rust and such, and I just get better and better. My life just keeps getting better. It's awesome. Came back with a shining bill of health from the gastroenterologist, though they do want to do the first colonoscopy I've ever had, because I'm of the age. I'm right at about the age when you should have one. And so she was like, yep, we're just going to, dot the I's and cross the T's and just check. And I was like, okay. So going to have a colonoscopy coming up here soon, which is fun. But I still have a clean bill of health. I'm looking pretty good. And they're happy with me. She was like, you have made like a marked turnaround in your health, and I just want to say how impressed we are. And I was like, okay, sweet, thank you. And she was like, you look completely different from the last time I saw you. And I was like, oh, good, well, that's good. I mean, I'm happy to, yes. I wasn't looking for a compliment. I went in there expecting to meet some male doctor, but it was a female Hindu doctor. And she went out of the way to pay me a compliment because she felt the positive reinforcement was good. And I was like, wow. I mean, thank you. I didn't, it was weird. I didn't go looking for a compliment. It was odd. So anyways, so now, I got back from the doctor, which took, like an hour and a half, and then I dumped my toilets that are in the outhouse. I have a piss and a poo toilet, and they begin to stink after, a while, and so you wash them out every once in a while. It depends on when they're full, and, yep, and so that was today, and so I spent an hour doing that, and that was fun, and before I did that, I walked for 2 hours, and so I woke up today at 9:15 in the goddamn morning. I hate when my life is like this, I gotta say. Like, everybody else really loves it. I don't. I feel like I lost complete control of my life today, starting at like 9:20 in the morning. It was like scene missing. Do you guys remember the Simpsons scene missing thing that I taught? Whenever the real life shows up in my life, I view it about as unwelcome and as shitty and as fucking negative as a blackout drunk, right? You know how people view being blackout drunk? That's how I view the real life. Like, I lose my video game time, I lose my free time, I lose my self time. I'm such a selfish person. Uh, and I just don't like doing adulting, and I don't like doing real life things because I think it's the most childish, non-adult thing you can do. If you've admitted that somebody or something else runs you, and you are doing something that you don't want to do for someone else for some reason. And I mean, these things today were for me, so I did them, and I didn't complain to anybody. I didn't complain when I got the phone call to go to the doctor. I didn't, complain when I got to the doctor. I was surprised when I got the compliment because I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I lost, 120 pounds. That's good, but it's not, it's not like, crazy. And it was good. And then, it was just an interesting day. And 5.5 hours blow by. It's 5 hours and 15 minutes. I woke up at 9:15. It's 2:15. 5 hours blow by like nothing, and I'm supposed to feel good that I got exercise, that I got paid a compliment by a girl that like a girl my age, that I like, that I got some sunlight, that I was out walking 5 miles, and it's like 5 miles. It like my feet fucking hurt and I'm sore. It's been like five miles or something like that. And then I dumped my toilets, which is something that even I'm self-gratified about because I put off all the time, And I even did like myself a solid besides going to the doctor to take care of my health and stuff. So all of this stuff is for me. But I still resent it. I still don't want to do it. I still don't like it. I've got I've got a scene missing where like, all I remember about today, I'm not going to remember today. And that's what I hate so much about it. They built such a goddamn mundane piece of shit American life, and they think everyone needs to live that. Like my mother thinks everybody needs to live that. And I don't. I view the last 5 hours as scene missing. And in the same way that a career drunk might really deeply fucking hate that feeling of losing 5 fucking hours and having no idea what the fuck happened. I know what happened. I know every second of it, every minute of it. I still resent it. I still don't like it. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or anything like that. You can see from the dislike on my face, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic for some stream or something like that. I actually really don't fucking like doing real life. I view it as kind of a loss of my goddamn life, and I really fucking resent it. And if I didn't have pieces of shit that I bow down to and obey and do everything that they fucking tell me to do all the goddamn time, I wouldn't fucking do this stupid ass shit. I'll just be fucking frank about it. I wouldn't do this goddamn shit, and I would be probably healthier, frankly. It's weird. Like, I think I would be mentally healthier. I think I would be happier. I don't care if it's for good things that benefit my health, or like, walking 2 hours in the sun. I don't care if it's good. I still view it as scene missing. It's not stuff that I want to do. I didn't do it. I didn't do any of those things for, I don't know. I stopped doing that when I was 16 years old. And then, I don't think I started doing it again until I was like 42. You could tell from the fact that for 26 years, I didn't do anything like this. I didn't go to a doctor. I didn't walk. I didn't talk to family. I didn't take care of other people. I didn't worry about other things. I didn't worry about plants dying or humans dying or anything like this. 26 years went by. They fucked me up. They threatened to some dude tried to kill me. They threatened to throw me in jail for 10 years. And they forced me to come back to the real world. And I still resent it. I wait for generations to die. I hope my government topples. I hope the doctors aren't there anymore. And I just don't have to worry about any of this stupid human shit. I'll be fucking honest about it. I'm just not that guy. I'm sorry I'm that fucking freak. I know how much of a fucking freak I am. I am not an adult. I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it. At the end of the 5 hours, I feel nothing but shame and scene missing, and I feel the same shame that I'm sure a fucking alcoholic drunk feels after they black out drunk for 5 hours. I wake up and I'm like, I feel deep remorse and shame that I let other fucking people and other fucking bullshit and other stupid shit like my health fucking dictate what I do in my goddamn life. From my family to me to my doctors to everybody. It doesn't matter if they're fucking trying to help me or they love me or I'm doing better. It doesn't fucking matter. I still don't want to fucking do it. I didn't want to do it when I was born. I didn't want to do it when I was 5 years old. Nothing changed when I was 10. When I was 16, I left the house and I was just like, nobody gets to tell me what the fuck to do or how to live or what time to get up or who to attend to or what doctor's appointment or what this or that or what time I have to go to work or anything. I don't want any fucking shithead cocksucker human being ever telling me what the fuck to do ever the fuck again. Ever again. You understand? Never again. I'm waiting for my parents to die. I'm waiting for the government to die. I'm waiting for the pieces of shit in their generation to fucking die. I'm waiting for Donald Trump to fucking die. I'm waiting for them all to fucking die. I know how fucking shitty and negative that is, but I don't want fascists in my fucking face telling me what to do anymore. I don't want phone calls waking me up in the morning telling me I have to go to the doctor. I don't want people asking me how much money I make or tell me, oh, you lost some weight or whatever. I don't give a flying fuck what you think about what I look like, muggle. I don't give a living shit. Go fuck yourself. I don't care about it. Like it's like self-help sing say, right? So I'm gonna drop it off the big face here after a 10-minute soliloquy about actual rebel with a cause, which is, you know, I am a rebel with a cause, which is fuck doing anything that you tell me to do ever. Right? I don't understand Marlon Brando or the Marlon Brando. You know, you couldn't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes. You know, that's a Slipknot lyric that I really, really love. You can't see Colorado or California without Marlon Brando's fucking eyes. I really believe this. I can't, like, literally, I can't see the world without my shithead mother's eyes. I can't do it. And I fucking hate their generation. They have their little schedules and their genocides and their wars and their pig jails and their fucking drug prisons and their cocksuckery and their bigotry and their judgment over money and get up at 9 and go to bed at 5 or whatever the fuck bullshit ass fucking human shit that they're on about. Wake up at 9, be up during the daylight hours, and go see doctors during the day and go be a fucking good normie and all this normie bullshit. And I don't care if it has to do with my fucking health. I don't care if it has to do with my mental health. I don't care if I end up in the goddamn madhouse. I don't care. I still don't want to be judged or told what to do by any member of that piece of shit cocksucker generation, or their pigs, or their fucking problems, or their jobs, or their money, or anything that they do. Anything that they fucking do. At the end of the 5 hours, I'm supposed to feel pride. I'm supposed to be like, oh man, I was so nice to my family or whatever, and I watered their garden, and I walked for 2 hours. I was so nice to my body, and oh, I went to see the doctor. Oh, that's probably good for the future of my health and stuff like this. And I'm supposed to be so self-gratified in all piece of shit things that their piece of shit worthless ass generation feels about themselves as they lie to themselves all the fucking time. And I just not them. I didn't come up on the same music. I didn't watch the same television. I didn't watch the same movies. I don't want to live 9 to 5. I don't do calendars. Fuck the doctors. Won't see a doctor ever willingly. I'll only do it if my family puts it in front of me. It tells me that essentially they're going to be like, the relationship's going to be different if I don't. You know what I'm saying? I still don't like doctors and never would have voluntarily seen one. I would never leave the house to go see a doctor. I really feel that I completely have lost my personality to the fascist generation and all of their pig fucking assholes that populate it. And now anything that they tell me to do, I immediately understand to be evil. And I'm 45. I'm not supposed to feel this way anymore. I'm not some young, dumb, full of cum punker, but I still feel this way at 45. That their piece of shit, worthless conformity 9 to 5 lives of sobriety and judgment and asshole doctors and piece of shit problems and poverty and all this other stupid shit that they do. I don't have that in the MMOs. I don't have any of those problems in the MMOs. Having lived on the MMO lifestyle for 27 fucking years, I've just seen a better fucking way. I just know that there's a better way to live than my piece of shit asshole ass parents and their fucking cocksucker ass fucking fascist generation fucking did to us. I just know that there's a better life than that. I just don't live like that. I would say if there's a culture in the world history that I'm like, I would say it's sort of like Native Americans or something like that. I think of who's the person that the whitey hated the most. You know, who's the person that Whitey really fucked, right? And it's the Native Americans. You want to know why Billy Jack is my favorite fucking film? I mean, it's not my well, I don't know. It's hard because it's either Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or Billy Jack. And Billy Jack's an easy one because you begin to understand that Whitey likes the 9 to 5. Whitey likes their doctors. Whitey likes their schedules. Whitey likes pushing other people around and making them go to doctors and schedules and 9 to 5s. Whitey likes pushing people around, pushing little children with Foley automatics, you know? Whitey likes to push people around. And the more that I do stuff like go to their doctor's appointments, care about their politicians, watch their television or buy stuff on their commercials or anything like that, the more that I wake up and go to 10 a.m. to the doctor or something like that, the more I conform to their stupid ass bullshit. I pray for their deaths. And it sucks, but I do. I pray for my parents' deaths. I pray for the fucking dinosaur diaper dawn generation to die. I don't want their fascism in my fucking life anymore. And I mean, you can set your clock to their fucking laundry machines. And I'm sorry, but no, I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't believe anybody in history has ever lived like that, except you piece of shit fucking morons who worship money more than God. I really do. And I see it in the way that they build their traffic circles and their ticky-tacky houses and all of their bullshit with their Donald Trumps and their fucking Bidens and their cocksuckery and their fucking fascism and how they frown on you for not voting for any of their piece of shit fascists, or how they frown on you for your sexuality, or they frown on you for your drug use, or they frown on you for being black, or they frown on you for being Mexican, or they frown on you for being illegal, or they frown on you. They just frown on you. It's all frowning on you. They're a piece of shit. Diaper done, and it's both of them. It's Republicans, it's the Republicrats, and so we all kind of pray for them to kind of go away. They kind of suck dick. They're really just not too fun of a people. I never see them smiling. They smile at you like it's a scripted thing. And there's this moment in the conversation where you can tell that that's when June Cleaver smiles. So they smile at you and they expect to smile back at them. And it's like, no, I'll smile when I'm not around you because I don't have to deal with your fascism anymore. Like this. You know, but it's really hard for me to smile when I'm around you because you guys don't smile ever. You come from the fascist generation. and we think of this as Republican, but honestly, I think I catch Democrats doing it more than Republicans. Not fascism, conformity. Conformity to some schedule, conformity to the fucking doctors, conformity to the politicians, conformity to the army, conformity to a job, conformity to having more than $26,000 a year, conformity to being straight, or conformity to I mean, it's just conformity. Most of it is conformity. I got up at 10 a.m. I water the plants on time. I'm a pig on antibiotics in a cage, like that Radiohead song. And it's just weird. It's weird that they built this fucking reality that I'm allergic to. And at the end of it, they're like, you must be broken. We should have you go see a therapist because you don't seem happy after you enriched yourself for 5 hours. And it's like, well, yes, because you ordered me to do it, essentially. I'll come to that trough willingly. But no, you told me to go to the goddamn doctor. So now I'll never ever book another doctor. I'll book a doctor willingly if I have a problem that I need to see a doctor for. But I will never willingly see a doctor unless that problem is actually holding me up in my life or something like that. Because I'm not a pussy. You know? I'm just not like that. I could get shot and I swear to God, unless I'm fucking bleeding to death, I'm not going to the doctor because I know that the person that shot me is going to get constrained to my parents' system. Right? So no, I'm going to go deal with that shit like Nas, and I'm going to go plug him to his fucking face on the fucking streets and fight that man to his goddamn face like he fucking deserves. I'm not involving drug prison for 35 years or anything like, you know, evil and fucked up and fascist or anything like that. No. I'm just going to go shoot that guy who crossed me or whatever and have it be over with or whatever. And now some might call that anarchy, but I actually call it decency. I think putting somebody in jail for 35 years for drugs is bad. It seems like most of America seems to think that's good. The Republicans seem to be sending people to some other country so they can attend prison there. And the Democrats are okay with, building 55,000 drug prisons in this country because they absolutely did not veto it. So, I don't know why I'm supposed to like Democrats who boss me around by telling me to go to doctors and stuff like this. I don't like these people. At the end of it, I know I'm the asshole. I know I'm abrasive. I know it's my problem. It's me. This isn't a them issue. This is a me issue. But the problem is, the more I talk like this and the more I come to understand what my personality is and what being a normal human being is to me, the more I'm like, it reminds me of that John Lennon song, right? John Lennon wrote about this in the 60s, but the fucking piece of shit cocksucker flower power generation, they forgot the goddamn lesson, so now I have to remember it when they don't. It's so goddamn stupid, and I'm a yippie too. I'm a yippie too. I'm old enough to live to tell the story of becoming a yippie or whatever. I'm a yippie too. But the difference is, right, I'm Only Sleeping by the Beatles, right? They knew that he wrote this song. They didn't like it, but he wrote this song, right? When I wake up early in the morning, lift my head, I'm still yawning. When I'm in the middle of a dream, stay in bed, float upstream. Please don't wake me. Don't shake me at 9 in the morning. Please don't do that. Please do not call me at 9 in the goddamn fucking morning. I don't do that to you. Are you wicked? Did Satan wake you up this morning and get you on a calendar and crack that fucking whip for some reality that you have to be a slave to, that you have to make your family go to see a doctor? It's weird. It's fucking weird. I'm sorry, and I hide this from people all the time because I know I'm the weird one. But everybody seems to think I'm lazy. I don't mind. I think they're fucking crazy. As I put 3,000 videos on YouTube and I walk for 2 hours every day. Yeah, I don't have a job, but I don't understand working for anybody but me. I've never understood it, not since I was 5 years old. I don't understand working for somebody else. I've never understood it. I think anybody who does it is a fucking moron. And I kind of stay down with the generations that are willing to do it. Fuck working for anybody else. You understand? I mean, okay, if you're an idiot, what do? What's the fastest way to be an idiot? Do something for somebody else, pretty much, you know? It's not so true for like your wife or your community or your husband or your children or your family or even randos, right? But like working so that somebody else's business makes money when yours doesn't really make sense to me. And I stopped doing it around the age of 26, I think. I was just like, no, I'll probably just die in the gutter first. I won't do your fucking piece of shit Republicrat fascism of everything that I know and love, from the drugs to the work to the pay to the freedom to the jails to the shitty shit that you did to America with your fucking prison industrial complex and your crazy pig fuck backstab traitorism drug war and all the damage that you did to everybody that I love the most. And I think about it all the time, and I'm like, the only reason we have these things is because I don't ever say anything. So that's what I'm doing here. And I don't want to shit up their fascist generation day. I don't want to bring their thing to a grinding halt and try to change their mind about how fucking systematic of a piece of shit race that they've turned into, Republicrats, you know? People that just chase their 9 to 5 or whatever. I don't know. But I just don't think that's what humans are. I just don't think we were ever supposed to have this many people. I just don't think we were ever supposed to have maybe aqueducts and stuff like this. Because it fosters this thing of like systems. And when you really think about a monkey, you know, think about monkeys, you know. When you think about humans and monkeys, do you think systems work? All these systems that we built, do you think they work? No, I think of a barrel of monkeys rolling down a goddamn hill. I think we should embrace it. I've always thought this. Here's anarchist. Here's anarchy 101 for the educated man. We are a barrel of monkeys to try and live this weird 9 to 5 banker culture, banker hour culture. Of like the 8-hour work week or whatever, the 8-hour work day and the 40-hour work week and all this weird shit that we just don't conform to, and it has made us sick to try and do. I want to make it illegal to work a 9 to 5 job. I want to make it illegal to put anybody in jail. I think if somebody kills somebody in your community, I say we pitchfork that guy to death. If a woman is raped in my community, I say we pitchfork that rapist to death. You know, I don't want jail. I don't want that rapist being tortured in jail and getting raped by other inmates and stuff like this, or learning how to be a better rapist in jail or whatever. Or a better drug dealer, or better whatever. Right? I just don't want that. If you fuck up in my community, I kind of want to pitchfork you to death and torture you. You know, it's fucking crazy. But I mean, it's sooner or later you have to realize that 27 years have passed, and yes, deep down inside, you're still an anarcho-punk. You still are Steve-O from Salt Lake City. And you still resent the goddamn calendar. The fucking assumption that I should get up at 9:30 in the morning to go to a doctor. The fucking assumption of it. The gall of it. The fucking disgusting gall of it. Just the gall of it, right? Everybody seems to think I'm lazy. I don't mind. I think they're crazy. I have worked for myself since I was like 26. I've built 3 successful businesses. I don't give a shit if they make money or not, because I don't care about money. Money seems to be what you pieces of shit care about. So that's the one thing I'm not going to care about. It's a rebel with a cause. It's please don't be like my parents. Please do not be like my parents. They were not good idols. I'm sorry, but please do not be like my parents. There was my deadbeat dad who disappeared. There was my mother who worked too much and guilt tripped me for drugs and thought it was okay to throw me in prison for drugs and all this crazy shit. Who didn't fight for my rights or anything like this. She just thought it was okay for me to go to prison. And all this other shit. It was just weird. It was just fucking weird. It was just weird. And I want to just leave my stepfather out of it. He's not guilty of it. I want to leave my stepfather out of it. He came to it way later. I'm talking about my actual parents, and I'm it's a weird, sick, foul piece of shit 9 to 5 nuclear fucking family, like 9 to 5 schedule culture that we built that I swear to God is so foreign to monkeys. So fucking foreign that we kill ourselves, we rape each other, we don't get enough food, we don't love each other, stuff like this. This weird piece of shit 9 to 5 curfew structure fucking life that we built, where nobody works for themselves, they all work for some fucking overlord or something like this. Nah, you call that civilization? I call it goddamn death. I call it the death of civilization. I call it the death of the planet Earth as we smog up this place with our Carmageddon. I'm sorry, I just won't conform to anything that you think is normal. From sexual ideals, to fucking financial ideals, to schedule ideals, to doctor ideals, to fucking, to political ideals. I'm sorry, I just don't think any of the same things that you think. It's why I don't talk on the mic anymore. I just don't, I wake up in the morning and I realize that I'm a fucking alien and that I'm jealous of Alf and I'm jealous of Solomon Northrop because I feel like his struggle ended way faster than mine did. I think this is going to go on for hundreds of goddamn years and I get jealous of the slaves and the cotton thorns and their fucking palms because I think they got out of their problem fucking faster than I'm going to. It is shitty. It's fucking shitty. And I kind of hate my parents. I kind of hate my culture. I understand school shooters. I understand fucking, I'm not showing signs like I would ever do something like that. I just understand it because your conformity, it has killed us. Dear God, anything that is out of the norm at all, anything at all, it doesn't really matter what it is, dear God, like anything that's out of the norm, like it's okay. You want to know what my favorite song is of all time? It's a song called Parade by Garbage, because Shirley Manson knows. She knows this. She's known it for a long time. She knows what I'm talking about. I love Garbage. I think they were like almost the greatest band that ever lived. I love Garbage. I think the fact that they're named Garbage is proof of it. Like, I love Garbage, right? So I can, like, this is my favorite song of all time because it does state out loud how shitty it's been for the last like 50,000 generations or something like that. We do need to change our fundamental belief about this. If you think that some other human should do something, if you as a human being if you think that some other human being besides you should do something, I challenge that on a fundamental fucking level. You are not that human being. You can't say whether they should be trans or not. You can't say whether they should be poor or not. You can't say whether they should work or not, or whether they should have some kind of citizenship or not. That's not you. Piece of shit, backstab, piece of shit, fascist government. That's not you. That human isn't you. That Mexican isn't you. That woman isn't you. That woman that you tell what to do with your piece of shit abortion laws all that goddamn time. That woman isn't you. It's not you. Not you personally, no. So why the fuck are you telling them what to do? Why are you telling me to get up at 9:30 in the morning to go see some doctor that I don't want to fucking see, to pursue some goal that I don't fucking care about, for some light that I don't live? I don't fucking understand it. But hey, if you need your conformity to build your little ticky-tacky house life, go right the fuck ahead. I'm going to quote my Garbage lyrics at you and say, nah, fuck that. And I'm going to say, kaboom, get it right now. It's either get it right, do it good, or get it right now, right? Get it right now. It's either get it right, do it good, or get it right now, right? oh, let's bomb the factory that makes all the wannabes. And I think it's their entire goddamn generation. It's the Don Draper generation. Fuck these assholes. They all wanted to be corpos. They worship money more than God. They're fucking worthless, feckless, godless assholes who want to tell you how many hours you can work, or how many people you can fuck, or what orientation you can fuck, or where you can live, or how expensive your house is, or how much money you can make, or all. I mean, their entire goddamn, not just them, all of the previous generations before them were like this too. I think we're finally, like, after John Lennon and, like, you know, Mahatma Gandhi and, like, good people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and stuff like this, we're finally waking up to this fact that you can't push anybody else around with your schedules or money or anything else. You can't, like, I'm sorry, mankind is like water. The more you try to squeeze, the more it's gonna squeeze right through your fucking fingers. It's like that fucking analogy that they gave my parents' generation in Star Wars that they forgot, which is like about Darth Vader and systems. The more you try to squeeze your grip to try to say that we can't do drugs, or we can't be trans, or we can't be poor, or we can't be homeless, the more you try to squeeze your fucking grip. It's just like water. I'm going to use an analogy that even a fucking piece of shit fascist Republican can understand. It's a very simple one. It's like water, you piece of shit morons that fucked over the entire goddamn human race. And I'm not kidding either. Fuck them. Like, their 9-to-5 culture fucked over the human race for thousands of years. Fuck them. It fucked over the planet. Look at the fucking Carmageddon that they built. It fucked. Look at the armies that they built to kill each other. Fuck them and all of their fucking warlike bullshit against the planet and all these wars and all this army shit. Fuck their traitorisms. Fuck the fact that they're always this, like, saying the same things but on different sides and all this terrible shit, right? So let's bomb the factory that makes all the wannabes. Let's burst all the bubbles that brainwash the masses. As far as I can tell, it doesn't matter who you are, right? And that's how I feel about this, too. She said it correctly, and I feel the same way. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you have money. I don't care if you're a politician. I don't care if you shove Chinese people or Russian people or Mexicans around. I don't care what you do. I don't care how much money you have, right? Because as far as I can tell, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. We all live the same 100 years. As far as I can tell, is for all the scientific research that I've done all of my life, as far as I can tell, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, and it took Shirley Manson for me to understand this. Shirley Manson, I got not from my mother, not from their piece of shit generations, or all the shitty shit that they do with their suppression and their fucking, like every time that you try to speak to them, they just shut you down all the time. And it's not just my mother, it's everybody from their generation. All my life, I began to understand this weird systemic thing that their generation did, which is shut you the fuck down whenever you speak. So yeah, just now, you understand why I talk like this? Now I just keep on running and I'll talk right over them because they don't know that they're doing it. And I'll just keep on running over them. And my friends and I'm not the only one. My friends are all like this too. My inner circle is like this. My family doesn't want to admit it, but they are. My inner circle is like this. They're very good at talking over people who suppress you all the time. So we just talk over you all the time. My mother can't stand it. I guarantee the thing she hates about me the most is I talk over people. But the reason that I do that is their generation and all the teachers and all the politicians and everybody from their generation or older, they just shut you down the minute you start to talk. They can't admit this about themselves, but you know, they made a joke about it like in The Simpsons. They made a joke about it. They were making fun of who was it? It was they were making fun of I think it was Rob Reiner, and I swear to God, this is a really good joke to make fun of my mother with. It's I don't want to hear the end of any sentences. And when you understand this about them, you understand why I go at a fucking freight train pace. It's why XQC goes at a freight train pace. It is why I don't want them making fun of him for it. Because if you can't speak my language, if you can't understand how fast I'm fucking talking, that's good. It means that you're not from the suppression generations. It's like a generational thing. Sure, methamphetamine might be part of it, yes, but I don't care. I still know where it comes from. I talk so fast and I keep it going so fucking quick because I know that they're going to try and shut me down every time I make a point. point at all. For as long as I've known them, they've been like this. Since I was like 5 years old, I was stubborn and I was saying, no, 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 I'm going to say what I want to say all the time. No, no, no. What was my first word? What was Skycatlive's first word? The answer is no. You want to know why? Because I knew even then at the age of like 3, 4, or 5 or something like that, that they were making me do things that I wanted to do, that I didn't want to do. They like just didn't want to do them. Like even at the age of 3 or 4 or 5, I knew what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do, and I believed in that freedom. And even now, I still believe in that freedom. And they're making me do things that I just didn't want to do, like go to school or anything like this. So, you know, I'm sorry, but it sucks. But they made me do things that I didn't want to do. You could call that building character. I call it piece of shit fascists telling you what to do all the goddamn time. 27 years and well, more than that, like 33 years have passed. My opinion has not changed. I get jealous of the slaves because I think they got out of their slavery before I'm going to get out of the mundanity and the suppression. You know, like Piers Anthony wrote about mundanity. I could do a college paper about Piers Anthony, one of my favorite fucking authors. I've been reading since I was 5 years old, that talked about the fucking dangers of mundanity. Mundanity is the worst thing that he can fucking imagine. You know, me too. I mean, it's me too. I think mundanity, waking up and going to doctor's appointments at 9:30 in the fucking morning, is like the worst thing that you could do as a human being. It's mundanity. It's, you know, like, so in Piers Anthony's Xanth novels, Xanth, right? Xanth novels, mundane and mundania refer to the real world. That's literally what I think of this place as, this short bustland, because all they ever do is real world stuff. Jesus Christ, man. Use your imagination. We're monkeys. Do some climbing. Don't just stand there 9 to 5 your whole life and just attend your doctor's appointments and everything's got to be on a schedule or anything like this. I'm sorry, but it's just like, I'm sorry, but your suppression, it did cause a bunch of world wars and Vietnams and problems. You suppress everything and everyone. It's the systematic suppression and objectification of everybody who isn't rich and white. If you're a woman and you have sex, you're a slut. If you're black, you're a blank. If you're Mexican, you must be illegal. If you're poor, you must be lazy. It's just like that. You can understand it. And I yearn for the day that all of that dies. And I think it's going to be their generation, when their generation dies, because we're not doing it. I don't know anybody from my generation that's living or doing anything like that. None of my friends are doing that. My best friend, he shows up to work at like 2:15 in the afternoon because they know that that's when he's good. You know, that they know that that's when he's liable to show up. Now, so he chose a job where they let him do that because he doesn't do 9 to 5 loser. You know, he just doesn't do it. He's never been that. He shows up on a motorcycle too, you know. So anyways, Mundania. Oh, I can't even tell you how long my mother has suppressed my fucking God-given desire and right to ride a motorcycle. They'll suppress everything that you do, from the drugs to the music to the games to the motorcycles to the fucking 9 to 5 to the money to being poor or homeless or sick. They'll even suppress your ability to be sick, and they'll be like, you have to go to the doctor, and it's like, no, motherfucker, I don't. No, I don't. So mundane and mundania refer to the real world, or a world very similar to it. And I've always thought of the real world as mundania. I don't know why people live here. It's not fun. Why do you guys live here? Which serves as the origin for many of the characters and events in the fictional land of Xanth. Yeah, I've lived in the land of Xanth since I was 5. I was urged to by my parents, so I did. Xanth, on the other hand, is a magical land where everyone has a unique magical talent. Here's a more detailed explanation. Mundania. This is the ordinary, non-magical world that exists outside of Xanth. You know, the Muggle world. You know, Muggles, right? And so, yeah, I do think of the worst insult that I can think of isn't cunt or the F word or the N word or anything like this. It's Muggle. I think the worst insult that you can call somebody is Muggle. And I've always thought this since I was 5. Somebody who is permanently bound to the real life schedule of the real life world. I don't really understand it. I don't understand anybody who would choose to live like that. Why would you want to fucking nerf your fucking power like that and become a 9 to 5er? I just don't understand that fucking desire in you. If you're up till 5 in the goddamn morning, then you're up till 5 in the goddamn morning. Why do you feel shame about this? I believe it's proper time to pop self-help sing. You know, Self-Help Sing had it right. Do nothing. You guys, you shitheads were about jails and drug prisons and armies and fights and Afghanistans and Vietnams and 9-to-5s and money and chateaus and cars and houses and Carmageddons and Ford motor auto trucks and Ford Lincoln Mercury and all that stupid ass shit. But no, you really should have been worried about your God-given right to do nothing. If you feel like going and being Da Vinci and inventing the helicopter, then go and be Da Vinci and invent the helicopter. But nobody should be cracking the whip in a 9-to-5 to try to get you to build a patent for a helicopter. I'm sorry, but that is mundania, and it is the death of the human race. I think you want to know what I think causes COVID? I don't think it's ducks, like people eating ducks raw. I think it's the mundanity of a person starving to death in a really mundane life who needs to eat, that eats duck raw. I think COVID was literally caused by mundanity, because people are so suppressed in that culture over there that they can't get enough food to eat, so they eat duck raw, you know? It's starvation. It sucks. And it is mundanity. It's because somebody had to suppress them so fucking badly with everything that they do that they can't grow their own rice. They can't even grow their own rice. I can't even grow my own wheat without paying taxes. That's how fucking shitty the fucking Sith have become. You know, Donald Trump and their piece of shit Sith. You know, the right wing, the people who suppress everything and everybody and quote their military as the highest power, as if it isn't God.
Hello, my name is Self-Help Singh.
Hello.
International life coach, motivational speaker, and best-selling author.
Hello.
Hello, my name is
Hello.
speaker and best-selling.
Hello.
My name is Self-Help Singh. International life coach, motivational speaker, and best-selling author of the book Do Nothing. Do nothing. There is no purpose or meaning to find in life. So just exist and do nothing.
It's good advice.
Stop waking up early.
Yeah, stop waking up early to go see some fucking doctor. You'll get healthy.
Life is shit.
I'm kidding. That's bad medical advice. I'm just kidding. Medical misinformation. I'm kidding. I'm saying go to the doctor, but do it on your fucking terms. Wait, what? I can't see it. Oh, Lost and Random, the Eternal Die. Yeah, Lost and Random's good, but RNG, I'm beginning to appreciate it a little bit less.
So sleep through as much of it as possible.
I do. I try it. Like, you know what really saved my life? It wasn't my mother or my family or my therapist or anything like that. It was sleeping pills. It was sleeping more. I know what the big change was. It was sleeping pills and marijuana. And you'd be surprised, you know, what that can do for you. If you're sleeping for 12 hours a day for like two years straight, oh man, your life just completely changes.
6 a.m. club, bad idea.
Yeah. 6 a.m. club, bad idea. It's just a bad idea.
Sleep through as much of it as possible.
Yes, please sleep through it as much as possible.
5 a.m. club, bad
9 a.m. club, bad idea. 11 a.m. club, good idea.
a.m. club, much better idea. Stop doing the things you don't want.
Is it fair to resent my family as they book doctors for me? No. But I do it anyways, because I know that it has to do with conformity.
Make the excuses.
You can't hide conformity from me. I've been trained to fucking sniff it out in the wild, like some kind of truffle hunting pig. Like I can sniff out conformity in the wild. I can see it. Like his scarf is conformity. His sunglasses are conformity.
Excuse book. Make the excuses. Avoid.
Yeah. I was pretty good about excuses. You know, I got almost expelled in the 6th grade for forging hall passes. Almost expelled. They put me in like in-school suspension. They called it MISS, which is like middle school in-school suspension or whatever. They would call it MISS. You got to go to the MISS program now, which means that you don't have to go to school for the whole day, which to most, you know, kids who are depressed over their parents' divorce, who are fucked up and aren't dealing with things. That's like heaven. You don't have to deal with school that day. Oh, cool. You can just sit here and do nothing. Yeah, you can just sit there and do nothing. Oh, good. Yeah, fuck this place. Now, I want out of this place because I believe in freedom. I'm an American. But, I want out of this place. Let me out of the mess. Let me out of the mess. It really sucks that you're forcing me to be here. If you don't want me to do school today, then just let me go. I'll just go home. Right? But no, they make you sit there all goddamn day. This happened to me like, I don't know, 30 times or something. Like I failed the 8th grade over it. I was literally in school suspension so much and skipping school so much because I was forging hall passes and standing up in the middle of class and just walking out and going to school, getting dropped off, waiting till 8:05, and then just leaving. Going to the mall or buying video games or whatever. There was this point where I was like, I don't have to do this. I don't believe in being forced to do this, And I still sort of don't believe in it.
Commitments. A friend get to.
If kids want to be stupid, let them be stupid. If they want to get in, this is that whole thing about, if you want people to stop doing drugs, then make drugs legal. They'll stop being losers of their own accord. If you really, really want to make people stop doing drugs, then make drugs legal. They'll stop doing it of their own accord when it's not interesting anymore, when it's not rule breaking or cool or hip or anything anymore. They're gonna have to realize that there's like this choice about, do you want to be a slave to a substance that you have to pay all your money to? Or do you want to just be a normal person? And they'll come to that trough willingly. I've seen it. I did it myself. I've seen it countless times. They will come to that trough willingly. What they won't do is stop doing drugs when you tell them to. They will not do that. So why do you tell them to? Because you're a piece of shit fascist, both the Democrats and the Republicans. You're both fascists. You tell kids to go to school, and you tell people to join the military, and you tell people to not do drugs, and you tell them to report to prison when they do drugs, and you're just fascists. You tell people what to do all of the goddamn time. This is why the fucking Libertarian Party exists. Is why the alt-right and the alt-left exists. It's because you piece of shit fascists tell people what to do with their personal lives all the fucking time. You frown on them for being gay or trans. You frown on them for being people of color. This is what this is like. It's fucking shitty. So we say, fuck you. We hope you die. What else can we say? Really, fuck you. We hope you die, preferably in a really painful fashion.
Get us the family gatherings if you so wish. Make
like Lu Shang said, a man can sit by the river long enough until you can sit by the river long enough and you will see the corpse of your enemy float by. Doing anything about anything is kind of problematic. Like trying to stop people from doing drugs, trying to stop people from having sex, trying to stop people from having gay sex, or trying to judge people because they don't worship your God or anything like that, or anything like that, is the folly of an idiot. And it is a folly of a duh. It's a folly of duh for me to ever put up with it. So I don't. Since the 6th grade, I left the classes, I forged the hall passes, I stopped doing homework, I smoked the drugs, I did what I want, I still smoke the drugs, I still don't care what anybody fucking says about smoking methamphetamine, I still don't care. I don't smoke methamphetamine still, but I definitely still smoke hash to this day, and I still do the things that I did when I was 14 years old, and this is because I liked it back then, I'm gonna like it now. I like having sex with women. That's not going to stop. Whatever. It's just insane. It's just like, why do we, and people don't try to control that thing. Thank God. But in that same way that they don't try to control whether you have sex with women or not, I need that kind of freedom with everything else except for rape and murder and stealing. Like rape, murder, and stealing can't be permitted, but everything else, from drugs to abortions to selling sex, all of that stuff needs to be legal. I know it sounds wicked, but it's not. You judging people and throwing them in prison for having a weakness and selling sex or doing drugs is the actual societal weakness. You gave in to a weakness, and you decided to lock all your problems away. And we pray for your death now. We pray for your fucking death now. For generations of these pig fuckers to die. Whole generations of rightists and leftists. We pray for them to fucking die of old age. We do. Because I'm done with your fucking fascism. Our world isn't ever going to be like that ever again. Fuck your fucking worthless piece of shit fascism. I don't care if you're right or left. Both of you guys engaged in it. Fuck your fucking fascism. I refuse to tell another human being what to do. It's a better platform than any president's ever had in America. I refuse to tell any other human being what to do. It's a way, way better platform.
Book and fill it with
So let's all hope that the pig fucker, traitor, dinosaur fucking party of their generation fucking dies. And preferably in the most painful fucking manner. Let's all just pray, you know? Because that's what they wished on us, you know? So it's only good. It's good for the goose. It's good for the gander. You wish 50 years of drug prisons on us, then we wish you to die of old age.
uses.
So the chokehold of fascism that you enacted on this planet can fucking die with you, and good riddance. I'm sorry. When the fascism has threatened you with 10 years in jail, broken all of your friendships and all of your relationships, when it's thrown you in jail, when it's thrown you in a paddy wagon with broken ribs and bounced you around for 2 hours and 45 minutes, how do you survive through those 2 hours and 45 minutes? You dream of the death of the fucking fascist generations. You dream that it's not just left or right, it's not just Democrat or Republican. You dream of the death of the fucking fascists in general. The people that believe in 9 to 5s, you know? The people that want to tell you what to do, tell you how much taxes to pay, how much fucking sex you can have and with who, or how much drugs you can do and with what, or whatever. It's just fucking stupid. Fuck your fucking stupid, fucking worthless piece of shit, pig dog, right? I view them as all right wing. They think that they're leftists. They're not leftists. They tell people what to do all the time. They're right wingers. They're just sheep in wolf's clothing, or I'm sorry, they're wolves in sheep's clothing. I mean, we have both. We have wolves in sheep clothing and sheep's in wolves clothing, trying to tell us that it's okay to put people in jail for drugs. No, but you're evil and we pray for your death. No, it's not okay to put people in jail for drugs. No, it's not okay to deport Mexicans. No, but we pray for your death. If that helps any. We don't pray for you to change because we know you won't. We know that you're really shitty and worthless way deep down inside of your fucking fascist hearts as you build these 55,000 drug prisons and you suppress all of these people of color and, you know, and you suss out civil rights like it's an actual problem. Civil rights is, you're so proud of solving civil rights, but I mean, civil rights is not an actual problem. It's called treating your fellow man with decency. What was really the problem is you're indecent, all of you guys, and we pray for your death. We do. We pray for your death of old age. I hope that your chokehold, your fascist chokehold on me, it goes away one day because I can't breathe.
Is ready.
And it is both sides. The Democrats do it almost just as bad or worse than the Republicans. They back the electric chair. They back the goddamn drug war. They back their Vietnams and their 9/11s and their Patriot Acts. They fight, but they still back it. They don't ever put the foot down and say, nah, it's civil war if you don't. Like, you know, they don't ever actually stop these things. So I consider them the same people. They're Republicrats. They don't give a shit if we live or die. Their God is money. And you think I'm kidding? No, I mean these things. And I drew this belief when I was 16 years old. And I left the house and I stopped paying taxes or whatever, and I stopped doing anything anybody told me to do. And I smoked my drugs and I fucked my women and I did what I wanted, and I took 40 partners and I, you know, whatever you want to call it. And I lived my life, and here we are back here again. And they're trying to tell me that I can't have Mexicans in my country and I can't do drugs or whatever, and I can't be poor or homeless or whatever. And I'm like, nah, fuck you, but I'll pray for your death. You know, the only conversation we're going to have is me praying for your death, you worthless piece of shit fascist generations. It's entire generations of them. Since Joseph Stalin, there's been like 3 generations of them. Even Gen X was like this. There's been like, it was Gen X, the baby boomers, and whatever you call the baby boomers' parents, right? The Dust Bowl generation, whatever. Like, it was the Dust Bowl generation, the baby boomers, and the Gen X people. They still couldn't stop throwing us in jail for sex and dope. They just can't stop doing that. I don't really value their generations. I think of them as fascists, both left and right. They're Republicrats. They're worthless. They signed up with the devil and they voted against the public. We have so many gay pot smoking hippies. What the literal fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? So many people do heroin. Why would you ever make it illegal? You're wicked. You're fucking piece of shit wicked. Why did you chase Pablo Escobar with all of our money? Why are you so evil? I pray for your death. I mean, you think I'm kidding, but no, I pray for their fucking death. Their privileged deaths. And as they go, they're going to stuff their graves with our gold. I know they will. Like Tutankhamun, I know that they think that Tutankhamun was a good thing. You want to know why? Because the Memphis Pyramid exists. This is an example of my parents' generation and the fucking Dust Bowl generation and the fucking Gen Xers going fucking crazy on money. It's the Memphis Pyramid. You guys ever seen this? It's a bastion to my parents' generation's greed. It's so fucking crazy. Plus, they abandoned it. When my parents' generation realized how fucking guilty, fucking dirty, evil they actually look after when they were hit with the numbers of the 55,000 drug prisons and how evil the Memphis Pyramid of a disaster the Memphis Pyramid actually was, they just abandon it. They just leave it. Sound familiar? It's like what they did at the reservation when they dumped 90 million gallons of sludge into the reservation river. What was that? We looked at that the other day, right? The worst nuclear hazard in American history that they whitewashed. The Whitey whitewashed it, and we've never heard of it before. It was way worse than 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl. It was when they built a cistern to carry a bunch of crazy like tailing sludge. And it leaked into the reservation river and killed 95,000 Native Americans. It was worse than the Trail of Tears. Now, nobody's ever heard of this because of my parents' generation and their fascism. And the Dust Bowl who brought them in, and the Gen Xers who ruined it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a young millennial. I know better. I know the numbers. I had Jello Biafra. I had Google to tell me how evil these pieces of shit actually were. And you can say your drug prisons are just, and you can try to throw us all in there, and you can try and draft us to fight your foreign wars that we don't believe in. But I think you're gonna have a real cold realization that we're not going to ever do anything that you ever tell us to do ever again. And it's going to take thousands of years to get over the schism that has caused. The amount of control that you tried to fucking like stormtrooper into every culture that isn't white on this planet. It's going to take us thousands of years to get over the schism of the white flight. Or whatever the fuck you want to call it, white racism. It's fucking insane. It's going to take thousands of years. And also theft. It's also white theft. It's like white people with too much money who build things like the Memphis Pyramid. Like Tutankhamun. Like the pyramids they built up with their bare hands. What we still can't do today with fucking, with like cranes and machines and stuff. And why did they do this? It's because they worship God, and that God is money. It's not Ra or God. It's money. They worship money, and you're either the church of people who have it or the church of people who don't. So this is one of the reasons why they dislike black people so much and don't trust them and don't have sex with them. Is because they know that most black people don't have money. I'm sorry, but this is really how white people think. And so I don't like my own race. I don't like the Republicans. I don't like the Democrats. I don't like their laws. I don't like their rules. I don't like their government. I don't like my country. I love my country, and I like Yosemite and all the land and all the people, but I don't like my government. I don't like anything that they've ever done. I think it's basically entirely a systematic objectification and suppression of everybody who isn't rich and white. I can be very clear about what I believe about them. And would I ever vote for any of them willingly? No, not anybody but Ralph Nader. And the only reason I voted for Ralph Nader is he started talking about a maximum wage of at least $25. And I was like, oh my God, I never even knew there was a concept of a maximum wage, right? Well, why not cap it at 25 but make sure that it's always 25, Why can't we just cap the wage as something really high and just not differentiate ever, right? Can't we just make if it requires I'm sorry, but If it requires $50 an hour to live in America in the modern age in a metropolitan city, then why isn't the minimum wage $50 an hour? I will tell you why. Because piece of shit, backstabbing, pig dog fucking traitor, greedy shitheads who worship money more than their own fucking hearts and souls got a hold of our government and our people and our culture and drove us into the ground. I don't support anything they do. I don't believe in their doctor appointments. I don't believe in their 9-to-5s. I don't believe in their money. I don't believe in their system. I don't believe in anything that they do. I don't believe in their Carmageddon. I don't believe in anything that they do. I don't believe in their television shows. I don't believe in their commercials. I don't believe in their food that they cook. I don't believe in their restaurants. I don't believe in their home improvement television channels. I don't believe in anything that they do. Nothing. You know what I believe in? I believe in watching a homeless person build a shack. I think that's actual home improvement. Maybe a van life thing, or a tiny house living thing, or a sustainable living video. I believe in that, but no, I don't believe in fucking houses in the hills. I think we should take that from people and use them for the homeless. I think we should take the richest, most expensive mansions in America and give them to the homeless and kick the rich people out of it. I know that's a freak thought by a freak show. I'm very aware of it. I still fundamentally believe it with all my heart and soul, and I would make it happen if I could. Hi. So we found out that you got $550 million in your piece of shit rich white fucking theft bank account that's in the Cayman Islands. So you can't have this mansion in Maui anymore. In the Pacific Palisades, you can't have that anymore. I've come to take it. There's some homeless people down the street, and I'm going to pick them up in a big truck right now. And I'm going to bring them to your fucking land. You can't bring any of your property or anything that you've got in there out of there. You have to just vacate these premises, or you're no longer an American citizen. You can keep your money, but you can't keep your fucking house while these people starve in the streets. Bye. And if you resist, they're just gonna laugh at you, bear mace you, drag you out of here, cuff you, and leave you on the corner. We're not gonna put you in jail. We're just gonna leave you on the corner cuffed up. And you're gonna have to figure out how to get out of those cuffs. And if the community likes you, they'll let you out. But no, I'm not going to put you in jail for having money. I'm just definitely taking your fucking house and repurposing that to solve the homeless crisis. I'm terribly sorry. You have lots of money. Just go buy another house. You can't have this anymore. You're evil.
What's up, guys? My name is Jake, and welcome to Abandoned, episode 60. When I was driving down to New Orleans to shoot my feet down the worst I have ever seen.
There it is. This is all we need. It's a bastion to my parents' generation's greed. Are they all guilty of this? No, some of them are really wonderful people, like my parents, you know? But we can lump them in because they do vote for the fascists. We can lump them in. They're no better, though. We say, are they as bad? No, they're not as bad, but are they better? No, they're not better. No, they're no better than Donald Trump. They're not. They're no better or worse than Donald Trump. They're the same thing. I believe in equality. They're the same thing. They're no better or worse than Donald Trump. My parents are no better than worse than Donald Trump. Sure, Donald Trump's got more money than them, but he's not better or worse than them. No. And this is the big secret about mankind. This seems to be a secret, but it's not. It's actually that we are born equal, and it is whatever that you do. So if you have a Bass pyramid, congratulations. I'm going to repurpose that until there's no more poor people anymore. You're a shithead and evil, and I pray for your death. I'm not going to imprison you or take your money. I just pray for your death. You've been evil. I pray for your death. You know, I'm sorry, but I've never said a prayer in my whole life before except for one, which is I hope that the piece of shit fascist generation, Republicrats of 3 whole generations, I pray for their fucking death, including my own parents. And yes, I did commit suicide. Not commit, but I attempted to commit suicide a second time over the realization that I didn't respect anybody older than me. You know, I did. I was so depressed over it. I tried to attempt suicide a second time because I was like, well, I don't have cloud candy or anything to live for anymore. So I'm going to go look for some kind of redeeming factor in my family or their generation's work. I couldn't find it. So I attempted suicide a second time, you know, I don't like talking about that one because it was really dark, you know, First one was really a lot like, first one was darker, but it's a lot easier to talk about because it had a good ending and stuff. The second one was like, oh, we're gonna just have to agree to disagree. My parents' generation do suck dick, and I do pray for their death. You know, I hope they die because what they've left us isn't worth keeping. You know, fuck them.
What are friends? Say no to
So
the
I was very, very surprised that they wanted me to be around them. I tried to warn them, but it's kind of funny. God works in mysterious ways. Because they're suppressionist, they wouldn't let me tell them no. They wouldn't let me get through the statement. You understand I don't respect you and shouldn't live around you, right? But they don't even let you get that far. They just suppress you before you can tell that to their fucking face. And then I guarantee they probably would really resent it if you fucking were to tell them to your face. But I mean, I tried to tell them long before I moved here. I was like, you understand I would prefer to move into an apartment of my own and pay $1,000 a month until I die a fucking loser's death, right? I mean, that's verbatim, but they shut you off before you can even get to die the loser's death part, right? I'm still going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to live off of $7,000 a year for the rest of my life until I die a loser's death. Nothing changed. Nothing's going to change. It's going to be the exact same thing that I pitched at them before they told me to move here. But I was like, oh, okay, you want my company. I find that very surprising. You understand how much we actually dislike you and everybody like you, right? That seems sort of weird. So, yeah, and they have raised my opinion of them to a considerable degree. But I still think of them as the generation that threw us all in prison. That's not going to change. When I cried myself to sleep in prison, I thought of my parents and how they caused it with their drug shame, you know? And I didn't really ever want to see them ever again. I was very surprised when they wanted me to. I was like, no, I don't think I'm ever going to have family ever again. I don't think I'm ever going to have friends again. After what America did to me, I don't think I'm ever going to have anything or anyone ever again. I used to try to tell them this to their face, but they would suppress you and shut you off. They'd be like, no, don't talk such rot or whatever. You're just being too negative or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to give you a fair warning about how the future is going to go. I'm not being negative either. I'm actually incredibly positive about it. I got to grips with who you guys actually are. Deep down inside, in your souls, there's human excrement. You're going to stuff your bank accounts while the rest of us starve. You worship money more than God. You believe in money more than angels. You do. And I'm sorry, but it's just weird. I mean, when you come to grips with it, you're like, okay, well, I don't wish death on them anymore. I just wait for it.
To the TikTok. Say no.
Preferably in a really painful manner too. Like I kind of hope that they're everybody from their generations, they kind of die the same kind of thing that I died. I experienced ego death after I had my ribs broken by a man that I let citizen arrest me after I committed a burglary and a break-in. And, you know, they busted that one down to theft, but I was like, I don't care what you do. I told the public defender, I was like, I don't care what you do. I don't support the system. When I came in, I told my public defender, greatest man I ever met, basically, too. I was like, hi, John, nice to meet you. I love you to death, and thank you for doing this. I don't care what you guys do. I just informed him. The first thing I said is I sat down at the table. I was like, I don't care what the system does. And he laughs, you know, and he was like, you know, I find that to be brutally honest, I think is what he said. He was like, I find that to be brutally honest. I wish my other clients would be more honest like that. They seem to act like they care, but they actually don't care what happens. And he's like, I find it kind of refreshing that somebody is honest enough to tell me that they don't care what happens. And I was like, yeah, I don't care what happens. I don't expect you to win this case because it's against the system. And if you do win, it'll be a miracle. More power to you, sir. But I don't care what they do to me. If they throw me in prison for 10 years, I'll just burn down the prison. And he was like, please don't talk like that around me. And I was like, okay, no problem, I won't. But I mean, it is the truth, sir. I think that's verbatim the conversation we had. And he was like, okay, you're crazy, huh? And I was like, no, I would never harm a living being and never have. And he was like, well, then why are you talking about burning down the Lindsay Flanagan courthouse? Because they crossed me over drugs, and I don't believe in what they believe, and I think what they believe is evil, and I never voted for what they wanted. I voted for legalization of marijuana and all the things that they're trying to bust me for, heroin and meth. And like, I don't believe I believe in my moral right to do whatever the fuck I want to do in the privacy of my own home as a consenting adult. And he was like, it's funny, I believe that too. And when the greatest public defender in Denver, I got the greatest one. He was the most successful one. He had a nice suit that he could afford, He was the greatest public defender in Denver. He was super booked, so he couldn't give me more than 8 minutes, But we talked a reality talk where I was like, I don't care what you do. And he was like, I don't care what you do either. He was like, I don't care what you do. And I was like, that's fine. Good. We're cool. And he was like, well, I'm going to try and get you off of this. And I was like, thank you. I was really fucked up. I lost my girlfriend. I was high on methamphetamine. I had relapsed after being sober for 2.5 years. I went to my old apartment. I busted one single little glass window that was the size of 6 inches so I could turn a lock and get inside my old apartment and look for my cat. And he was like, I understand what you're saying seems to be true, and I believe you when you say it, and we're going to try and get you off of this because I believe somebody with your story should get a second chance. And I was like, oh, good. Well, right on. More power to you, but it's the system. They've never done anything for me before. They fucked me. I'm sorry, they have done things for me before, but they've always thrown the book at me, And he was like, no, you don't have a charge. You've not had a charge for like 17 years. And he was like, that's good. That's good for you. And I was like, oh okay.
The exercise, say no to the.
But I mean, it didn't change the fact that when I sat down with him, I was like, I don't give a flying fuck what you or the system do. Are we clear? Are we savvy? And he's like, I get that. I get this a lot, but I don't get it as honest as how you just put it. And I was like, yeah, I really like. So would you like? So I told him, I was like, shall we just end this now? I think I remember. I think I was like, I don't like being here. I told him, I was like, I don't like being in this courthouse right now. I might blow this courthouse up. Can I just leave this place? I sat down. I was like, can I leave this place? I don't think you need me, do you? And he was like, no, I actually don't need you to do anything but show up to the court date. Are you going to show up to the court date? And I was like, yes, I'm going to show. I'll give you, in front of my God and my father's grave, I will show up to the court date, I promise. And he was like, that's all I need from you. The rest of it I'm going to do. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I got to get up, and he was like, what's the story? And I was like, well, I told him the story. And he was like, I'm going to help you. I think you do deserve this. I think you have a good story. And I was like, okay, good. All right, fine. So bye. And he was like, no, hang around. I'm going to talk to you. And I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, you don't have the patience for this, do you? And I was like, no. And he was like, why? And I was like, since I was 17, they throw me in jail or threatened to throw me in actual like federal prison for the possession of drugs that I just don't give a flying fuck about if people do, like ecstasy and marijuana and heroin and methamphetamine and shit like this, or whatever. They've been busting me for this. This is like my 28th charge. I told him, I was like, this is like my 28th charge. I came into this prepared. My mother, she fucking sent, she facsimile, she sent a messenger with a paperwork delivery to the fucking madhouse where I lived. And I looked through all of the charges that I had racked up over a 27-year period, and it was 28 charges. It was like a charge a year or something like that. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. But they were all in the first 2 years. It was like 28 charges in 2 years or something like that. It was like 7 years. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And then I go 17 years without doing anything bad at all because they tortured me so badly in the system. I was like, I'm never breaking the law again, And it was just weird. The whole thing was so weird. And the resentment never went away. Stomaching it never happened. I've never stomached that drug system that they built. I've never stomached it. I've never been able to stomach it. I still will rebel against it, and I will kill a cop if they try to put me in that place ever again. I will kill a cop if they ever try and put me in that place again. I don't care. Specifically because I don't break the drug laws anymore. So if any cop tries to put me in jail for drugs ever again, I will just straight up kill them. I don't care. I don't care if it puts me in the fucking chair. I don't care. You understand how sick the system has made me around this? You understand if a cop ever tries to step to me about drugs ever again, I will fucking kill them. You understand? I do not accept that because I don't do illegal drugs. I'm never doing illegal drugs ever again. This isn't because I think that it's the right thing. I love methamphetamine and heroin, and I wish I was on them right now. I love meth and heroin. heroin, two of the greatest things that mankind's ever created. I mean, I love meth and heroin, really do. Like, I really feel like the big missing thing in my life isn't love. I think it's drugs, and I really, really miss it. But the piece of shit fascist generation hasn't died yet, so neither have their drug prisons. But when they do, we're all going to breathe a sigh of relief, and we're going to open those drug prisons, and we're going to end the dark times. The bad man will be gone soon, I promise.
Diet. Eat whatever.
Don't worry, guys. The Batman will be gone soon. They're going to die of old age. The tyrants will die of old age. And we're going to open up those drug prisons and free those black people and Mexicans. I swear to God, they can't chokehold us with death prisons if they're dead. You know? So I swear to God, with the changing of the guard will be the ending of the fascist drug prisons that my parents' generations fucking straddled us with. And fuck them, and I hope they all die painful deaths for wishing that on their own fellow Americans. They are traitors. They are traitors. I think they should be hung by noose. Hundreds of thousands of people, the kind of like Hitler or something like that. I would never do this to them, but I do believe this. I believe hundreds of thousands of Americans should be hung by noose because they did traitor their own people with this drug war. That's how deep this goes with me. I would never ever do something like that. I'm just not an asshole like that. But that's the fucking belief. I believe the traitors that threw their own fellow countrymen in jail for the possession of drugs should be hung by noose until dead in Times Square. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be like, well, okay, you guys made a mistake. Okay. We made a mistake in trusting you and putting you in power. You made a mistake by building 55,000 drug prisons, so and shitting up 3 whole generations with your fascism and making it impossible to buy a house and backing the corpos over your own children and worshiping money more than God and all this other terrible shit that you fucking weird, faithless, shithead, backstabbing pig traders do to us. But we can pray for your death and may it be peaceful. You know, if we found peace in the end, I can at least maybe pray for your death to be peaceful. But the amount of sorrow and hatred and fucking pain that 3 generations have caused, 3 generations in this country, is goddamn unacceptable. Fucking unacceptable. Unacceptable. I watched my ancestors spend with careless abandon, assuming eternal supply. I watched them build 55,000 goddamn drug prisons to imprison their own children. I watched them rape children, build Bitcoin to build a currency around raping children. I watched them do all kinds of things that nobody in my generation did. I can't think of even remotely hearing anybody from my generation who did anything like these things. These people were the devil. There was whole generations of them on both left and right side. They committed World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Kosovo, 9/11, Afghanistan, and I don't think we'll have war when they're gone. I really don't. I think maybe I'm naive. I would say if there's one thing that made me stupid is how naive I am. But I really believe that when they're dead, war is going to end. Because I know that I can teach the younger generations that war is over if you want it. They didn't listen to it, but we can. I listened to John Lennon when he said, "War is over if you want it." They didn't. They liked the war in Afghanistan. They like kicking the Mexicans out of the country. They like throwing their own prodigal sons in drug prisons. They like being fucking evil. They like sitting on their gold coins like Scrooge McDuck. They're faithless. They're shitty. They are Satan. They are evil. All of them. They've all got 5 houses or whatever, 5 cars and 2 houses. They've all got 2 houses and 5 cars. It's disgusting. Fuck them. Hope they die.
Fuck you want. Soon you will.
Eat whatever the fuck you want. Don't listen to them about dieting. Don't listen to them about guns. Don't listen to them about drugs. Don't listen to them about gay sex. Don't listen to them about trans sex. Don't listen to them about judgment. Don't listen to them about war. Don't listen to them about money. Don't listen to them about the stock exchange. Anything. Fuck the PO. Fuck the judge. Fuck the system. Fuck the court. Fuck the lawyer. Fuck the PD. Fuck the cop. Fuck the fucking pigs. Fuck the fucking system. Fuck anything that they built. It's all a bunch of bullshit built around suppression and systematic objectification of everybody who isn't rich and white. That's the actual complaint. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. The complaint is true. You built a world based around the systemic objectification of and suppression of everybody who isn't rich and white.
Be dead. So what difference?
Soon you will be dead. So hopefully in a really painful manner. For the every time that I think, oh, I wish they rest in peace, I think, no, I don't. No, I don't, because I remember being tossed around in that paddy wagon with broken ribs as I screamed and howled bloody murder and threatened their fucking jobs and told them I would have their jobs and shit like this, and they ignored me for 2.5 fucking hours like the pig dog fucking fascist drug prison traders that they are. They showed me no quarter, so I hope that they die very painful deaths. I do. All of their people from 3 generations. Dust Bowl, Baby Boomer, Gen X. I want them to die painful ass Donald Trump Diaper Don deaths. I really do. I'm sorry, but I have a deep, deep resentment of them. The prison of the world that they built, they can suck a dick with that one. And guess what? My greatest life's legacy will be to teach the children that we can have something different. The world doesn't need to be a drug prison.
Is it making? Stop.
The world does not need to be a drug prison. May all of my shithead, fascist, Republicrat fucking enemies die a painful death. Let's pray for their death so that we can fix this, because they won't let us fix it. We're going to have to wait till they die.
Listening to what people...
They think God told them to do this or something. I don't know what it is, but death is the only thing that's going to fix this. We've seen it. They'll continue to throw our children in paddy wagons with broken ribs for as long as we permit them to. So we must stop it.
Say about you. Stop chasing the perfect summer body. Whether you are fat or thin, haters will hate. And soon your haters will also die. Hopefully in the most horrific manner.
Hopefully in the most horrific manner. You think I'm kidding? But I view them as haters. 3 whole generations of haters who locked us all up in drug prisons and constrained us to 57 years of fucking war. 57 years of war or something like that. Out of the last 100 or something like that. Fuck them. May they all die in the most horrific manner in those wars that they constructed. I hope they do.
Joking.
I thought Saving Private Ryan was a comedy. My friends did too. I mean, I'm sorry, but I did. I thought SPR was a fucking comedy. It's like, oh God. We don't want to admit it, but I mean, we did. We kind of thought SPR was kind of a comedy. It sucks, but I mean, that's kind of what you guys deserve, though. The people the same age as you, they persecuted and put 6 million Jews to death. You could have stopped them probably if you had done anything, but you didn't, so you deserve Saving Private Ryan. You deserve Omaha Beach. You could have stopped them from doing the Holocaust if you cared at all. But no, you're anti-Jewish Hitler pieces of shit just like them. So you didn't stop them when they did the Holocaust. You had to come find the corpses later. But I don't know. Maybe it's because we didn't have computers or something. But no, I'm fairly sure they knew the Holocaust was happening and did nothing about it. I'm fairly sure they knew how evil it was to drop those nuclear bombs on people that weren't the Nazis. Really, I guess you could call the Japanese Nazis, but really they were more Axis powers. We weren't really fighting the Japanese, we were fighting the Germans. And like, it's really fucking weird that you drop those nuclear bombs. And no, I don't want to look back on that with honor or aplomb. I want to shame it and call it what it is. It's the goddamn most shameful thing that's ever happened. And it falls right in America's goddamn lap like a scalding cup of hot coffee, burning the fucking meat of our fucking thighs. It's disgusting. Why do we drop that nuclear bomb? And yeah, I do wish to condemn the 3 generations that back that sort of action and build drones and bombs and guns and tanks instead of, education, farming, aqueducts, and sustainable living. Yeah, fuck you guys. Hope you die. Peace. Sorry. Fuck you guys. Hope you die. Peace. Sorry. I don't mean that about my own family, but I do mean it about their generation, both left and right.
Joking. Oh, am I joking?
I'm not so faithless as to mean that about my family, but I do mean it about their generation, left and right. I hope the grave takes you, bitch. Hope the grave takes you, Donald Trump. May you die the Diaper Dawn death.
The least amount of work without getting fired. Nike say, just do it. Self-help say, just do nothing.
Just do nothing.
Release yourself.
Anything that isn't this systematic suppression and objectification of everything and everyone else who isn't rich and white. Anything. Do nothing. Anything. Doesn't matter. As long as it isn't that.
Of obligation and responsibility.
Do nothing. It's better than this.
Everything you think.
Doing nothing is better than this.
need to do was done before you and will be done after you.
For millions of years, we've been smoking drugs and selling sex. Why did you think you could fucking change it now, you worthless, faithless, pig dog, fucking backstabbing traitor cocksuckers? Why the fuck did you think you could change it? You're so fucking stupid. Go reinvent the wheel in hell, you fucking hell dog, piece of shit traitor Satanist. Get the fuck out of my country. Full blown. Like, and I'm speaking about, like, dinosaurs, you know what I'm saying? The dinosaurs. I don't want them to roam the earth anymore. They're fucking fascism. I wish you die. You know, I hope you die. May you die a painful death.
So stop doing.
Yeah.
You doing.
Stop doing anything they tell you to do at all. If they tell you to go to school, don't do it. If they tell you to go make money, don't do it. Like, if they tell you to buy a house or get married or anything like this, don't do it. Don't do anything they fucking tell you to do. It's all just their matrix of fucking greed and suppression and systematic objectification of everybody who isn't rich and white. Don't go chasing their carrots. Don't go giving them your taxes. Don't go making money for them. Don't go vote for them. Do not vote for the Republican or the Democratic Party. These are people who do wish for you to die.
When you do nothing at all, you are not special. You are not unique creation. The world is fucked and you cannot unfuck it.
Yep.
So just do you.
Just do you.
And do nothing.
Right now, I feel like chopping trees immortal. It's my favorite thing to do right now, so that's what I'm doing. It is a form of peaceful protest in a way, because if they had their way, I would be at some 9-to-5 job right now, stressed out, trying to work for nobody at all, just me, so I can pay them their taxes, so they can continue to fuck people with foreign wars. That's not happening, piece of shit. I'll die first, you understand? That's not happening. I will not fund your foreign wars.
Stop spending your days searching.
Some of us don't work because we can't. That would mean funding this government. And I would die first before I'll give this government a fucking penny. A fucking penny. They've tried before. They wanted 35 grand for the first thing. They wanted 27 grand for the second thing. It took my mother 55 phone calls or something like that, but we eventually just told them, you know, in some way or another, we don't have your money and we're not paying you if we did.
For the meaning of life.
Eventually they just had to forgive it, because it's like, no, I'm not paying this system so they can go fuck over black people and Mexicans. I'm not doing that. For what? Nonviolent drug charges and prostitution and drug running and gangs? Nope! No, I'm not a traitor like the Republicans and the Democrats. No, I am not a traitor like them. No, I will not put my own people in jail. No, nope.
Is the most futile.
Nope. I'll offer to give them therapy.
Exercise. You will die.
I'll offer to give them state-funded therapy. I'm not putting them in jail for selling drugs or sex. I'm not doing that anymore. You can go fuck yourself, you pig dog fucking traitor fascists. Nothing you do is good. Nothing.
One day, just
even your Carmageddon that Henry Ford built, that you're so proud of, that built America, killed the world. Fuck you guys. Nothing that you built is actually that good. I want to see some peace and love and some free heart mending. I don't want to see your fucking Carmageddon anymore.
As confused as you are now. So be happy.
If you are living beyond your means, if you cannot support yourself, then you are wrong.
Who you are. As my good friend Farouk Freddie Mercury.
If you are spending somebody else's money, you are evil.
Really matters. So do nothing.
Yep. Anyway, so now let's go on to Masood Boomgard. No, let's go back. Something is weird about this shooting. Uh-oh.
Breaking news overnight. Police have captured the suspect in the targeted shooting of 2 Democratic lawmakers and their...
I hope they talk about how much of a...
Okay, remember how surprised we were when the leftist shot the senator at the baseball game? It was like the first time in history. How often has that happened since? Probably 4 or 5 times, right? So yeah, like I can count on, I think, like both hands how many times a leftist has shot up the place. That doesn't happen that often. There's like commies and socialists who are leftists, who have guns, who commit like genocides. But in America, when was the last time you heard about a leftist doing a mass shooting?
Looney leftist he is, right? Because that's what they've been telling
Yeah,
us.
yeah. Like
This is
we heard
Dan's
Baegon try to say this yesterday. Like Baegon was trying to say that it's always the left. It's always the left, and I was like, oh yeah, all this the Beltway snipers and the fucking the bell tower sniper and the fucking all the school shooters like Dylan and Klebold and Harris and that guy who blew up OKC. Those are all leftists, are they? Huh?
Belter, flanked by Minnesota state troopers.
Oh yeah, the pretty bad leftists. All those guys. Yeah, those guys are all leftists, are they?
Immediately following his arrest.
I think they would be insulted if you were to call them that. Maybe.
The pursuit for the fugitive ended in a field in rural Sibley County near his home, about 45 minutes southwest of the.
Was this really a fucking leftist shooter? I mean, maybe. I'm sure it was like some leftists who were armed at the protest who saw a live shooter and shot him. That might be what it is. I don't know. I wasn't there.
The Twin Cities. Police say.
So when Luigi Mangione shoots the UHC healthcare CEO, instantly insta-lock terrorism charges. The federal government is entertaining hitting him with the death penalty, allegedly. Right? Allegedly. But when Vance Belter, not allegedly, but literally shoots and kills a Democratic lawmaker, no terrorism charges? No demands from Pam Bondi for hitting the death penalty? What is going on here? I'm willing to bet if an actual Antifa shot and killed like a Republican politician, they would very quickly demand the death penalty. This motherfucker had a hit list. Wow. Politicians don't even care about self-preservation anymore. Like, they don't even entertain.
So I'm going to do something. I'm going to reach out to a friend of mine who lives in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and I want to ask him what he thinks about this.
the notion of like defending the rule of law against politicians, like simply out of self-preservation, that like if these guys don't get hit with the book, like they might be next, you know? Under normal circumstances, that's what you would expect from even Republicans, to be like, this is unacceptable, this is unacceptable, heinous crime. Nowadays, nope.
Abandoned in the area, and a tip from a resident prompted SWAT teams to the field. After evading arrest for 43 hours, what they call the largest manhunt in the state's history.
Oh my god, it was 43 hours. It was worse than the Mara bomber. Oh my god. Alright, anyways, I am going to open all the windows in my house because it's really hot. I'll be right back. Oh, stiff. Get some airflow in here. Oh. So I asked my friend, who I've known since I was 14 years old, who lives in the Twin Cities, what his opinion is of this shooting.
Was finally over.
I think people are shocked to learn that he was armed and was arrested unscathed. Why do you think that was?
To arrest him without any use of force, and that he gave up voluntarily without us getting into having to use force. No police officers were injured. I couldn't ask for a better ending.
I can't believe that the cops also reported that they saw him shoot, and they just kind of let him do it at first.
They realized that he was not a police officer. They shut it out. You're not a cop. You're not a police officer. Belter then announced, this is a robbery, and forced himself into their home.
Hoffman's wife revealing they were each shot at least 8 times, adding they're incredibly lucky to be alive. According to court documents, at 2:24, Belcher arrived at the home of another state rep, but she wasn't home, so he left. 12 minutes later, he showed up at a third lawmaker's home. A police officer was already there conducting a wellness check. When she approached Belcher,
Belter did not respond. According to the officer, he just sat there and stared straight ahead.
Belcher then drove to the home of State Rep Melissa Hortman. He arrived around...
Wait, what? Wait, I misunderstood the details.
When she lawmaker
Announced, this is a robbery.
It was also reported that they saw him shoot, and they just kind of let him do it at first.
They realized that he was not a police officer. They shut it out. You're not a cop. You're not a police officer. Belter then announced, this is a robbery, and forced himself into the...
It was a robbery?
Their home.
Hoffman's wife revealing they were each shot at least 8 times, adding they're incredibly lucky to be alive. According to court documents, at 2:24, Belcher arrived at the home of another state rep, but she wasn't home, so he left. 12 minutes later, he showed up at a third lawmaker's home. A police officer was already there conducting a wellness check. When she approached Belcher,
Belter did not respond. According to the officer, he just sat there and stared straight ahead.
Belcher then drove to the home of State Rep Melissa Hortman. He arrived around...
Why would isn't that basically probable cause? If a police officer talks to you and you don't respond, isn't that PC?
Wait, what?
Isn't that PC? That's PC. A lawyer could argue PC. You could arrest him at that point. I don't want her to arrest him, but I think it is PC.
Misunderstood the details. Wait. He went to a second home. They didn't arrest him. And then he went to a third home where he actually killed. Wait, no shot. So he goes in to the first lawmaker's home, shoots them. Luckily, they survived somehow, despite being shot 8 times.
According to court documents, at 2:24, Belcher arrived at the home of another state rep.
Goes to another state rep's home. She's not home. That's home number 2.
But she wasn't home, so he left. 12 minutes later, he showed up at a third
lawmaker's home, and a cop is already there conducting a wellness check. Bro, at first, listen, chatters, remember when I at first said, I am going to hand it to the cops for at least having the wherewithal to go to each lawmaker in the vicinity in their homes to do a wellness check because they knew that like a lawmaker had been shot? I'm afraid I'm gonna have to take that back. That is insane. Are you joking? You saw a suspicious dude impersonating a law enforcement officer when there was already details that someone impersonating a law enforcement officer was shooting lawmakers. You're there to check the scene at 2:36 a.m.
Baker's home, a police officer was already there conducting a wellness check when she approached Belter.
Belter did not respond.
A cop approached this dude who had already shot and luckily could not kill, but shot 2 people, a lawmaker and his wife. And he just weirdly was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And you just let him go? Was he wearing the mask too?
According to the officer, he just sat there and stared straight ahead.
Belter then drove to the home of State Rep Melissa Hortman. He arrived around 3:30 a.m., according to the documents, with police officers pulling up around the same time.
When Belter saw the officers get out of the car, he drew his weapon and began firing. He repeatedly fired into the house. And when he entered, he murdered Representative Hortman and her husband.
I'm sorry. What the are you saying? So then by the time this happens, he's at the 4th house and the cops arrive. He pulls his gun out, starts shooting at him. They don't do anything in return. He runs into the house and actually assassinates the Democratic lawmaker and her husband. How is that? What are cops doing? Are they just there and not, like, I feel like the average person in that situation would be a more threatening presence than law enforcement officers. Like, the average person would have been like, yo, this is weird. At the 3rd house, they'd be like, what the are you doing? Is it just like because he looks like a cop? Is that what it is? Like, I cannot comprehend what took place here. I don't understand how the first cop let him go. I don't understand how the second cop they shot, like, he shot at them and they were like, well, that's a white guy, he probably was threatened. Like, how
you shot at them?
How does this make any sense? He shot at the cops, walked into the house, killed the lawmaker and her husband, and then was able to escape on foot. Bro was wearing the mask when she talked to him and let him go. That's why they keep calling the mask hyper-realistic. What?
He drew his weapon and began firing. He repeatedly fired into the house. And when he entered, he murdered Representative Hortman.
Wait, oh, what? He saw the cops arrive on scene and started opening fire into the house. He fired into the house, and then he entered the house. He didn't even shoot at the cops. Why didn't the cops shoot at him? Why didn't they shoot him?
Belter fled on foot. He returned to his home at some point that morning, according to the court documents, and texted his family, "Dad went to war last night." It read, "I don't want to say any more because I don't want to implicate anybody." The documents say he later bought an e-bike and a Buick from a stranger at a bus stop. Finding that abandoned Buick and Belter's cowboy hat along a rural highway on Sunday was a major break, officials say, which helped lead to Belter's arrest.
Wow.
I need to see the body camera. I need to see the body camera of what took place. I need to see the body camera of the first cop that let him go. He was wearing the mask, apparently. And I need to see the body camera of the second or the last cop. How the he opened fire on the cops and they didn't do how is that possible? And then he just fled on foot? How the does that make any sense?
Maggie Vespa joins us now live. So Maggie, have we learned any more about Belter's wife and what police found in her car?
Yeah, Tom, we have. That affidavit also unveiled that law enforcement searched Jenny Belter's car on Saturday, finding in it, documents say, 2 handguns, roughly $10,000 cash, and passports for her and her kids who were in the car with her at the time. Now, law enforcement has since stressed Jenny Belter was cooperative. She was never detained. We have reached out to her, and we haven't yet heard back.
You're not... What? You're not even investigating if she's involved at all, in spite of the fact that she had passports in the car? Well, I'm not saying, like, arrest her permanently, but, like, not even a little bit of an investigation to be like, so what's up? Like, why are you escaping? This looks like you're escaping. What's... Dude, handguns, passports, and $10,000. I get stopped with passports in the car, handguns, and $10,000 on a busted taillight, I'm getting detained. I'm 100% getting detained. And I'm not directly tied to a assassin. What is going on right now? What is it like if you're in Minnesota and you're white, they just let you do it? Like, what's happening? None of this makes sense. Am I crazy? I feel like, is that the cheat code? You gotta be white in Minnesota and they will literally be like, oh yeah, you're free to go, ma'am. Something strange is going on with this situation. Both strange in terms of like the police response being more incompetent than what you would normally expect, like a sequence of actions that took place that are very weird, like letting him go when they're supposedly on high alert. Oh, they have images from the fucking Hope Police Department dash camera footage. At approximately 2:36, officer encountered a man now believed to have been Belter sitting in the driver's seat of a black SUV parked down the street from public official 2's home. Officer believed that the SUV, which resembled a squad car, was equipped with a police-style light bar, was in fact law enforcement officer providing protection for public official 2. The cop thought he was a cop. The officer reported that the individual sitting in the black SUV was a bald white male. So he was wearing the mask? The officer tried to speak with that man, but he continued staring straight ahead and did not respond. The officer drove the rest of the distance to public official 2's residence, saw no signs of distress, and waited there until additional law enforcement joined her. By the time they did, the dark SUV had left the area. And then he went at around 3:30 a.m. Local law enforcement, having learned of the shooting in Senator Hoffman's home, went to the home of Minnesota State Representative Belcher Hortman in Brooklyn Park. Upon arriving, law enforcement saw a black Ford Explorer SUV parked outside the home. The black SUV resembled a law enforcement squad car equipped with police-style lights. The lights were on and flashing. The SUV's license plate had been replaced with a fake police license plate. The plate literally said police, yeah, I know. In Minnesota, I did not know this at the time as well. I thought it was really stupid. In Minnesota, cop cars do have, I mean, this is obviously fake, but cop cars, real cop cars do also have police as their license plate. Law enforcement arriving at Representative Hortman's home saw Belter dressed in dark colors standing near the front door facing the house. Moments after their arrival on scene, Belter fired several gunshots in the house as he moved forward, entering the Hortman's home. In dashcam footage from the scene, moments after Belter fired those shots, he moved into the... Wait, so he didn't even shoot at the cops? He didn't even shoot at the cops. Moments after their arrival on scene, Belter fired several shots into the house as he moved forward. In the dashcam footage from the scene, moments after Belter fired those shots, he moved into the house. A second set of gunshots can be heard. At the same time, several flashes appear in the entryway windows. About the same time, officers moved forward to the home's front doorway where they saw Hortman lying on the floor. When officers entered the home, they found Representative Hortman suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Hortman family dog was gravely injured as well. Belter fled the Hortman's home, leaving behind Belter's 2015 Ford Explorer SUV, parked outside the house. After obtaining a warrant, officers searched that vehicle. I know from my training and experience that the Ford did not manufacture 2015 Explorers in the state of Minnesota. Officers found evidence tying Belter to the SUV, including a bill from the storage unit with Belter's name. They also found approximately 5 firearms in the SUV, including semi-automatic assault-style rifles, as well as a large quantity of ammunition organized into loaded magazines. They also found a medical kit containing wound treatment supplies, several eye masks of the kind that might be worn while sleeping. From the SUV, officers recovered several notebooks full of handwritten notes. Listed among the pages of the notebooks were the names of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal public officials, including Representative Hortman, whose home address was written next to her name. One of those notebooks contained lists of internet-based people, search engines, including True People Search, Spokeo, People, People Finders, Been Verified, White Pages, Truth Finder, Intellius, Ownerly, US Search, and People Looker. Dude, why the fuck do those websites even exist? But also, oh yeah, there's his face mask. Not only is the story odd, the apprehension is even weirder, and it's yet another, I guess, perfect demonstration of police incompetence. But outside of this, what is also alarming is the fact that every right-wing outlet instantly locked in on the idea that this guy was right-wing, including but not limited to Mike Lee. Mike Lee first claimed that he was right-wing, and then after he was apprehended yesterday, he posted this. He said, "Nightmare on Wall Street." This is an American senator. Oh, sorry. Every outlet, every right-winger claimed that he was left-wing. I apologize. I misspoke. Making fun of Tim Walz, who was literally on the hit list. American senator making jokes about a Trump supporter killing Democratic lawmakers after spending the weekend falsely claiming the shooter was actually a Democrat. Clown country. Anyway, like I said this earlier, but there's no need for the CIA or NATO to do sophisticated influence campaigns and false flags anymore. Half the country literally believes the evangelical mercenary Trump supporter who shot Democratic politicians and had more on his hit list is actually woke because of this website. Back in the day, right-wingers would look at this guy and realize his background seems federal and complain that this was a setup to make the right look bad by rogue FBI elements. Now they just repeatedly say woke Antifa until they start believing their own delusions.
Just doing Final Fantasy stuff here. Gonna do some tellies, I guess. Make a little bit of money. Oh, gonna deposit 2,000 wood. That's good. Ooh, allium. I didn't know this spawned here. Wait, when did allium move in here? That's weird. I didn't know this was here. I think there was a house here is why. There was like a house and it always blocked it. Yeah. Oh. That's very weird. Vance Belter, huh?
Trump's now being hit by Tucker Carlson, Candace.
What now? Oh my God! Now Fox is turning on him finally. Oh yeah, no, your credibility is gone. You fucking jackasses. Enjoy the death of your careers. You're fucking dumb.
And Dave Smith over a U.S. attack.
Now Fox is after him.
With some of his allies and fans now calling for him to be impeached. Also, is
Wow.
the Israel-Iran situation spiraling out of control? Netanyahu wants a war-ending weapon that only the United States has, and Trump might be the first president that's actually willing to hand it over. We need to talk about how a man with a hit list killed 2 Democrats, but then right-wing influencers and senators still tried to sell him as a leftist assassin because this is just going to keep getting worse. We're jumping into all that and much more on today's brand new extra-large Philip DeFranco show. You daily dive into the news, starting with this. The Israel-Iran situation, it's just getting worse, and now you have the world waiting to see what Donald Trump is gonna do. Is he gonna get the deal that he claimed he would? Will he just stay out of it, or will the U.S. get involved in another war in the Middle East? And while I have my opinions on how this is gonna play out based off of the things that we're seeing right now, the truth is we truly just don't know yet. But to first at least fully understand the question at hand, I mean, we gotta talk about what has exactly happened so far, what Israel's aims are, and why one of those aims may not be possible without the help of the United States. Right, so where we should start is where things kicked off last Friday when you had Israel starting attacking nuclear and military facilities across Iran, as well as assassinating top military commanders and nuclear scientists. With Israeli PM Netanyahu saying that Israel had discovered an imminent threat requiring preemptive action, with him specifically saying that new intelligence indicated that Iran was on the verge of turning its fuel stockpile into weapons. So then with that, we saw Israel expanding its campaign beyond obvious military and nuclear targets, with them taking aim at energy infrastructure, manufacturing, aviation facilities, and even the headquarters of Iran's state broadcast. And with that, you first had Israeli military issuing an evacuation order to residents of a large area of Tehran. And actually, in that part of the city, you had a news anchor being live on the air when an explosion shook the building, with then other videos and images from the scene showing the building on fire. And then you had the Israeli military later saying in a statement that its Air Force struck the building to target what it called a communication center being used by the Iranian military, quote, under the guise of civilian activity. A claim that I'll say could not be independently verified. But either way there, with Tehran continuing to come under fire, the death toll is reportedly rising to at least 450, and we've just seen more and more people fleeing, with traffic massively backing up on the main highway heading out of the city. And of course, as that's playing out, we're seeing Iran doing its best to retaliate, launching wave after wave of missiles at Israel. While many have fallen short or been intercepted, there's also been a lot of damage and at least 2 dozen killed. And with that, I'll say, notably here, at least as of recording, Israel's ability to provide civilians with a 15 to 30 minute warning ahead of incoming Iranian strikes, which it had been doing since the start of the conflict, it's reportedly been limited. Right? While it's not clear yet why, you had at least one Israeli officer recommending that people spend the night in shelters or close to a safe space. And then, regarding the back and forth back in Iran, you had Israel today carrying out even more airstrikes against drone and missile infrastructure, including launchers in the western part of the country. And that is, they're also claiming to have killed the man described as the most senior military commander in Iran, though notably he had only been in his job for about 4 days after Iran's supreme leader appointed him to replace the predecessor who was killed by Israel on Friday. Also, regarding the strikes, we're now learning that an Israeli attack against an Iranian nuclear facility last Friday may have actually done more damage than initially thought. Seeing the UN nuclear watchdog today saying that it had identified direct impacts on the underground enrichment halls, while it had only at first been able to identify above ground damage. So in some ways, you have experts saying that it doesn't really matter either way. Right? And that because even if Israel obliterated the facility that got mentioned there, the Fordo nuclear site would still be left standing. Right? And that it's Iran's most heavily fortified nuclear site, built deep inside of a mountain, and it holds the country's most advanced centrifuges. And notably with that, Israel could potentially slow down the ability of the facility to keep enriching uranium by attacking power generation and transmission plants that help run the facility. But to actually destroy it, only the US has a bomb that may be capable of doing so. Right? And that bomb, it is 20 feet long and 30,000 pounds, meaning that only the American B-2 stealth bomber can carry it. And even then, besides directly involving an American pilot and crew in the war, it wouldn't be easy. Because any attack on Fordo, it would reportedly have to come in waves. The B-2s releasing one bomb after another down the same hole. Plus, you're looking at the potential of nuclear contamination that could endanger civilians. And then, of course, all that, it's just in addition to the possibility that Iran's just going to then retaliate directly against U.S. troops and other American targets in the region and beyond. And notably, regarding the bunker busters, Netanyahu has pressed the U.S. for years to make them available. I mean, we're talking since the Bush administration, but the United States has always refused, fearing that it would encourage Israel to start a war with Iran. But now that Israel has one and started a war anyways, the idea that Trump might break that precedent, it seems like a real possibility. possibility. Right, and so far, Trump has only made it clear that the U.S. would not hesitate to use force against Iran if it attacked any U.S. targets, and he's moving fighter jets and refueling aircraft to the region just in case, but also his rhetoric has been getting more and more aggressive and less focused on striking a deal. Right, yesterday, for example, you had him freaking everyone out a bit when he wrote on social media that everyone should immediately evacuate to Iran, with him also saying Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, which is an all-cap sentiment that he repeated in other tweets. And notably, that's also a statement that came from G7 leaders, though theirs in lowercase. And that specific statement also calling Iran the principal source of regional instability and terror, and reiterating Israel's right to defend itself. With him then, after that, calling for broader de-escalation of hostilities in the Middle East, including a ceasefire in Gaza, but then stopping short of calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And then with all that, you had Trump making headlines for leaving the G7 summit early, with him also angrily responding to comments by French President Emmanuel Macron that it was to work on a ceasefire, writing on social media, "Wrong, he has no idea why I'm now on my way to Washington," saying that the real reason for his abrupt departure was much bigger than a ceasefire. With him then also writing on social media today that he has not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape, or form, and saying if they want to talk, they know how to reach me. And then just a few hours later, he posted, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but it is safe there. We are not going to take him out. Kill, at least not for now. We don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin."
Why are you talking about assassinations in the press, you fucking idiots? We don't like assassinations. We don't like assassinations, even in war almost. It's like, you know, we'll do them in war, but we don't like them. It's cheap. It's like a cheap form of like winning. It's stupid. Just kill the leader. I mean, I don't know, I guess. But I mean, you know, like, why are you talking about assassinations in the press, you fucking idiot? That makes you sound even scarier. Like you've gone crazy with the CIA. What the fuck are you talking about?
He needs to take further action to end Iranian enrichment. That decision ultimately belongs to the president, and adding, "I can assure you that he is only interested in using the American military to accomplish the American people's goals. Whatever he does, that is his focus." And all that, as you notably have the likes of people like Senator Lindsey Graham saying if diplomacy is not successful, he will urge President Trump to go all in to make sure that when this operation is over, there's nothing left standing in Iran regarding their nuclear program.
If that means providing bombs, provide bombs. If that means
busting bombs,
whatever bombs. If it means flying with Israel, fly with Israel.
So there, I'll say Republicans are hardly united in that view. And now we're actually seeing some working with Democrats to pass a measure that would require congressional approval before U.S. troops could engage in offensive attacks against Iran. Right? And then with all of that, we're now seeing a ton of revolt and division from within the MAGA ranks, with many actually slamming Trump and arguing that his actions will get the U.S. drawn into a foreign war despite his vow to stop all wars. And notably, among his critics, it includes some top conservative voices like Tucker Carlson. Right, actually, since this crisis began, Carlson has been incredibly vocal about his opposition to the U.S. supporting Israel in a war with Iran. I'm even writing a newsletter last week where he went as far as to claim that Trump was complicit in the act of war because of the long-standing military alliance between the two countries. Right, and then implying that the Trump administration's involvement in this crisis goes against the America First message. With that, then, unsurprisingly getting a ton of backlash from other conservative figures who accuse Carlson of being a fake Trump supporter. And that is, you also had Trump himself responding in several places. Right, in an interview with The Atlantic, he was asked to respond to critics like Carlson who had argued that his actions go against the America First platform, with Trump responding there, "Well, considering that I'm the one that developed America First, and considering that the term wasn't used until I came along, I think I'm the one that decides that. For those people who say they want peace, you can't have peace if Iran has a nuclear weapon." Right, and there, I'll just say, you know, a quick aside, it is just simply untrue that Trump came up with America First. It literally first emerged during the original nativist movement of the 1850s and was popularized by Woodrow Wilson over a century ago. But then, back to the story at hand, despite Trump's remarks, you had Carlson continuing to repeatedly defend his stance. And yesterday, he doubled down again during Steve Bannon's War Room podcast, implying that the U.S. support of Israel in a war with Iran goes against the America First message.
But the point is, if you think that saying, hey, let's focus on my country where I was born, where my family's been for hundreds of years, that was the promise of the last election, please do it.
But then Carlson going on to attack his former colleagues at Fox News and Rupert Murdoch, calling Fox News disgraceful, claiming the network has a long history of promoting wars that don't help the United States, and accusing them of spreading propaganda. But regarding Trump, he also made it clear that he still strongly supports the president in general.
I actually really love Trump. He's a deeply humane, kind person. And I am saying this because I'm really afraid that my country's going to be further weakened by this. I think we're going to see the end of American empire. But it's also going to end, I believe, Trump's presidency and effectively end it.
So despite Tucker's proclamation of undying love for Dear Leader was not happy with Tucker. With him writing on Truth Social, somebody please explain to kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But then, in an unexpected move, probably one of the most die-hard Trump supporters in the world, Marjorie Taylor Greene, came out and actually defended Carlson, with her writing in a post on X that he is one of her favorite people and that they both believe the same things, and arguing foreign wars, intervention, regime change put America last, kill innocent people, are making us broken, will ultimately lead to our destruction. That's not kooky. That's what millions of Americans voted for. It's what we believe is America first. Right? And the fact that she directly referenced Trump's post there, that's really significant because it is very rare, if not entirely unheard of, for her to explicitly buck the president. Where stands also not the biggest surprise. I mean, last week she put out a very lengthy post where she said anyone slobbering for the U.S. to become fully involved in the Israel-Iran war is not America first / MAGA. And that is, she's also not a lone voice out there. With Joe Rogan, regular Dave Smith saying that he made a mistake by voting for Trump. He even called for his impeachment. You also had Candace Owens taking aim at the president, writing, Donald Trump just completely fractured his base, and he did it for the very neocons who minted the Never Trump movement. Truly unbelievable. Though again, that is not the universal reaction. This is a divide. This is a fracture among the base. And in fact, there's some recent polling from just a few days ago of specifically Trump voters. And there, they found the answer to the question, do you support or oppose the United States taking its own direct military action, if necessary, to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons? That 35% strongly supported, 37% somewhat supported, only 9% somewhat opposed, 10% strongly opposed, and 8% didn't know. Right, so a divide in his base, but still more supported. And then just to add an unscientific poll into the mix, I asked on the community tab this morning what y'all's thoughts were. And we had 5% strongly supporting, 10% somewhat supporting, 18% somewhat opposing, and 67% strongly opposed. With the top comment there reading, if Trump gave a shit about this, maybe he shouldn't have dissolved the Iran nuclear agreement to begin with. Also, I thought he was the no-war president. But hey, for now, we're gonna have to wait to see how this plays out. And in the meantime, let me know your thoughts in those comments down below. And then you've got more news coming up in just a minute. But first, I used to think cowboy boots were for ranchers, country singers, or just guys going through a very specific kind of divorce. But hey, turns out today's sponsor proved that they're also for people like me who just want to look good without bleeding from the heel. Because after my first pair of Tecovas, I got it, right? These boots, they don't just look good, they feel earned. Tecovas boots are built different. Every pair is handmade in 200 plus steps using premium cowhide and exotic leathers. It's kind of like a boot in a luxury car had a baby. In mine, they're Cartwright and Scotchgo, which not only, do they look better with age, they tell a story the more that I wear them. And the best part is there's no break-in period. For these boots, they're soft, supportive, and they're ready out of the box. No blisters, no limp, no cowboy waddle. And I wear mine with jeans, chinos. Hell, I'd probably wear them with a suit if someone invited me to a fancy barbecue. And hey, if you're lucky enough to live near a Tecova store, go. They got free drinks, free boot shines, and actual boot experts to help you find your perfect fit. You can even personalize your pair with branding or leather stamping, which is both rugged and unnecessarily cool. So hey, stop playing dress up and start stepping up. Just click that link or scan the QR code to grab your pair from Tecovas. But then, to switch gears from that to other news, the Trump Organization just announced the launch of a cell phone company, but here's the thing. It is somehow even sketchier than it sounds. So where I'll start is just with the official website for Trump Mobile, where you see that the service will cost $47.45 a month, a reference to Trump serving as the 45th and 47th U.S. president. And they say that it comes with a number of benefits, including unlimited talk, text, and data, calls with over 100 countries, and it doesn't require a credit check or contract. Though then notably, under a bullet point boasting unlimited texting, text away, no limits, you had a footnote clarifying unlimited texting may be subject to data limits. So then beyond that, the Trump Mobile plan claims that it will offer roadside assistance provided by Drive America and telehealth services that include 24/7 access to healthcare professionals, mental health services, and pharmacy benefits. Although it's unclear if the health services will be included in the $47.45 price tag. Because while you have Axios reporting that the telemedicine partnership will be provided at no additional cost, the website doesn't appear to say that, which is also something you saw outlets like Time noting, and then further adding that the telehealth services will be offered through a third-party partnership with Doctegrity. Doctegrity normally costs a minimum of $29 a month, and it's unclear from the website if that will be covered for Trump Mobile subscribers. But then, in regards to general coverage, you have the Trump Mobile site claiming that it will offer the same coverage as the 3 nationwide phone service carriers, and the site then adding that Trump Mobile will work with most major phones, so customers will be able to use a SIM card with their existing phone when they make the switch. But then also, if that doesn't work, the service will offer a full line of brand new devices available in the Trump Mobile store. With that said, currently there's just one, a gold-toned smartphone called the T1 that's on pre-order for $499, and it appears to have its name and an American flag engraved on the back, with the site claiming that it's made in the US and will be available in September. But then, notably there, we've seen numerous experts and even conservative outlets saying that it is functionally impossible to make the phone in the US, with them noting that the US simply doesn't have the necessary infrastructure to build the product, especially at the low price point that Trump Mobile is selling it for. And so you have analysts widely
Trump
agreeing
Mobile,
that, ironically, it'll
Trump
likely have to be
Mobile,
China. And even
Trump
have
Mobile.
Eric Trump, who runs the Trump Organization's day-to-day operations with his brother Don Jr., seemingly acknowledging that the phones can't be made in the US.
You can build these phones in the United States. Our customer service is in the United States. It's in St. Louis, Missouri. We can add more functionality. We can do it cheaper. We can do it better. And eventually all the phones can be built in the United States of America. We have to bring manufacturing back here.
Right, maybe like you just did, a lot of people, they picked up that eventually part, claiming that he appeared to be walking back his initial claim that these phones can be built in the US right now. Though I will say, that wasn't the only comment that Eric got heat for.
And Trump Mobile is going to revolutionize cell phones, mobile calling. We're going to do it better. We're going to do it safer. We're going to have more functionality, more features. And it's going to be cheaper, $47 a month.
But there you had a lot of people and outlets noting that the $47.45 plan actually appears to be more expensive than similar plans from established carriers. And so, for example, Verizon's budget offering Visible, it sells an unlimited talk, text, data, and hotspot plan for $25 a month, while Mint Mobile's annual unlimited plan costs just $30 a month. So I guess, who knows, maybe Trump's 5G, it's filled with more freedom. But also, jokes aside, we've seen a lot of tech people noting that the Trump Mobile website is very sloppy and confusing. For example, CNET noting that in addition to a lot of basic errors and typos, when it comes to the T1 phone itself, quote, the new device has a specs list that doesn't make sense. Noting that normally processing power is a key selling point, but for some reason there isn't a processor listed at all under the processor and RAM section of the Trump Mobile site. Also, it appears that the specs for storage and memory are mixed up, and then the screen specs appear to reference a kind of display that just doesn't exist, which is why you have the outlet and many others saying it's a pretty big red flag if they can't even properly list basic product information. But then also, beyond all the potential issues and contradictions that have been raised, one of the most serious concerns about this latest venture have been the ethical implications. Right, because with so many Trump-related projects, the president's direct connection is a bit murky and confusing. Because specifically, what you see here is that the Trump Organization itself announced the move, with the Trump Mobile website issuing a disclaimer that explicitly says Trump Mobile, its products and services are not designed, developed, manufactured, distributed, or sold by the Trump Organization or any of their respective affiliates or principals. But they're then adding that instead, an entity titled T1 Mobile LLC is using Trump's name under a licensing deal. Which I will say, if you are even remotely familiar with Trump world, a licensing deal isn't all that uncommon. But I mean, during his campaign, Trump used a similar structure to sell products like Trump-branded Bibles, sneakers, and a cologne that used his name through a paid license, but were distributed and sold by a third party outside the Trump family business. And those deals, they've been incredibly lucrative for him. I mean, according to new financial disclosures that Trump filed on Friday, the president reported that he had made more than $8 million from various licensing agreements in 2024. Though I will say, very notably, that is a small fraction, a little drop in the bucket of the total $600 million in income that he reported from a combination of cryptocurrency, golf properties, and lucrative foreign licensing deals, among other things. And keep in mind, that's just for 2024. It does not include any of the income that he's made from his various ventures since assuming office again. And so then with all that, right now, it's not immediately clear how Trump himself is going to directly profit from this new mobile licensing deal while he's in office. Or because his 2025 disclosures aren't out, and so we can't see how much of the Trump Organization and its many ventures he is divested from. But regardless, his family will certainly reap the profits, meaning that he also will once he leaves office. Which is why you then have many experts raising ethics concerns about the various Trump Organization licensing deals and other branded merchandise agreements. So with the Trump Mobile situation, you have people saying, one, you have the argument that even if he's not seeing the money in his hand now, he eventually will. Plus, his family's enriching itself off of his position of power. And two, you have many saying this presents a conflict of interest. Or with reports noting that Trump Mobile is entering a crowded space that just so happens to be regulated by the president's appointees. And saying the T1 brand on its phone is owned by the Trump Organization, effectively putting the Trump family in a manner of competition with the likes of Apple and Samsung, both of which the president has threatened to tariff heavily. But then others accusing Trump of functionally fixing the market that he's competing in and using the power of the presidency to jack up competitor prices. But then next up from that today, we need to talk about the right-wing reaction to those horrible Minnesota shootings, especially responses like that from Senator Mike Lee. Because as we talked about, Saturday morning, a man visited the homes of two Democratic Minnesota state lawmakers and shot them, with the alleged assassin, Vance Belter, killing Melissa Hortman and her husband and wounding John Hoffman and his wife. And according to police, Belter had a hit list with dozens of other targets, all or most of whom were Democrats. And that is, you had credible reports saying that he once registered as a Republican, supported Donald Trump, gave homophobic and transphobic sermons, passionately opposed abortion, and had Planned Parenthood on his kill list. And so in short, the available evidence generally seemed to point in one direction, right? That this was a right-wing, politically motivated assassination. But from the earliest moments as the news trickled out, you had the online bullshit machine churning out a narrative suggesting suggesting the exact opposite. You're seeing, for example, Jason Robertson claiming that both Portman and Hoffman voted with Republicans last week to remove illegal immigrants from Medicaid, which is only true of Portman, but not of Hoffman. With him adding, I'm sure it's just a coincidence, with a gif of a person winking. With then both Fox News and the New York Post amplifying that connection, implying that Portman was targeted for breaking with the Democrats. And that narrative then gained more traction after the Minnesota State Patrol posted a photo of the suspect's vehicles with stacks of No Kings flyers on a seat, which, as they made pretty clear, was meant to warn people that the shooter, who at the time was still at large, might attack one of the protests. But instead, you had many on social media taking it as proof that he was actually sympathetic to the protests. And then, when Belter's name got leaked online, you had people digging into his past and finding what they believed to be more evidence that he was a Democrat, right? Namely, that he was appointed to a state workforce development board in 2016 by the Democratic governor and then reappointed by the current Democratic governor, Tim Walz. But, as officials have pointed out, the board has dozens of members, and there are over 130 such advisory councils in the state government. And so members, they wouldn't be likely to have meaningful access to the government. Though that, it definitely didn't stop social media users and right-wing media outlets from simply referring to the suspect as a Walz appointee or associate of Walz. With some examples of the posts being things like, so a Tim Walz appointee with No Kings flyers in his car went on a shooting spree today and murdered and injured lawmakers, holy shit. Others cranking it up a notch, posting, did Tim Walz activate an assassin against a political rival who voted against his plan to give illegal immigrants free health care? Within the top comment there being, maybe it's time Kash Patel and Pam Bondi bring Tim Walz in to ask him some questions about what went on in Minnesota. And then, of course, I mean, what would a conspiracy theory even be without Elon Musk? With Musk throwing his 2 cents in, writing, the far left is murderously violent. You know, the bullshit, it didn't stop there. It oozed its way into the halls of Congress with, for example, Senator Bernie Moreno from Ohio posting, the degree to which the extreme left has become radical, violent, and intolerant is both stunning and terrifying. As well as Senator Mike Lee from Utah writing things like, Marxism is a deadly mental illness, and this is what happens when Marxists don't get their way. And sharing a photo of the alleged shooter with the caption, Nightmare on Wall Street, apparently misspelling Tim Walz's name. And, well, you know, you had many just disgusted with the whole wave of bullshit. You had Mike Lee's comments in particular striking a sensitive chord. For example, Jon Stewart just skewering him on The Daily Show last night.
I truly want to know why, in his mind, one death at the hands of an immigrant is worth $150 billion of border security, a militarization of American cities. Well, just the blue cities. I know the undocumented immigrants in red state fields are the good ones now suddenly. That and I guess Mar-a-Lago hospitality workers. But I want to know why those deaths in Minnesota are worth only a night of edgelord posting. No billions for mental health, no stopping illegal weapons trafficking, no nothing. We should ask him why.
And then separately, you had Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer directly calling out Lee on the floor.
I wish I didn't have to say this, but I was deeply disappointed and sickened to see a member of this chamber use the tragedy in Minnesota to take cheap political shots at the other side on social media. He should take down his posts immediately and apologize to the families of the victims.
And then finally, in addition to the politicians who went on TV to talk about this, you had Senator Tina Smith, who's from Minnesota, telling CNN she personally confronted Lee in the Senate hallway in between votes on Monday.
I went to him and I said, you know, your message on social media showed the image of the man who killed my friend. You need to take responsibility and accountability for what you are saying and doing out there in the social media world.
What did he have to say when you confronted him with that?
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think this is a person who's used to being confronted. He said, you know, how many times have we heard the words that go something like, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, or I'm sorry if you didn't understand what
And in fact, after that confrontation, Smith's deputy chief of staff released a letter that they say they sent to Lee's office with it reading, "Is this how your team measures success? Using the office of U.S. Senator to post not just one, but a series of jokes about an assassination. Is that a successful day of work on Team Lee?" And adding, "I pray to God that none of you ever go through anything like this. I pray that Senator Lee and your office begin to see the people you work with in this building as colleagues and human beings. And I pray that if, God forbid, you ever find yourselves having to deal with anything similar, you find yourselves on the receiving end of the kind of grace and compassion that Senator Mike Lee could not muster." But ultimately, in response to all this, at least as of recording, Lee has just kind of kept silent, even when this journalist confronted him on Capitol Hill. But they're asking him whether he regrets his post, whether he stands by them, and what he thought about his meeting with Tina Smith, all while he said nothing, stared straight ahead, and just kept walking. And then, while I was recording this, it appears he quietly deleted his controversial posts. You know, I will say, he's not alone there, right? When other bullshit promoters were asked about their bullshit, they kind of just hid behind the defense of, well, technically what I said wasn't a lie. Or with Jason Robertson telling NBC that his post was a factual statement. And for the other post I mentioned, where someone appeared to suggest that Tim Walz activated the assassin, he said, "I didn't accuse him of anything, I asked a question." And then when this News Nation reporter fact-checked Donald Trump Jr. in real time, he just kind of brushed it off like it was nothing.
The guy that committed those atrocities this weekend is a Democrat that worked for Tim Walz, that had the flyers about the No Kings thing in there.
I'm not sure about that, by the way, from what I see. I think he voted for your dad and things like that, from what I've seen.
I'll believe that when I see it. But
So yeah, I mean, we're in the situation where, I mean, it's Tuesday now. The facts of this story have been extensively reported, and yet the bullshit machine just seems completely unfazed. And then you've got even more news in just a minute, but first, let's get real for a second. Online privacy, it's a nightmare. You buy a hoodie and next thing you know, 7,000 data brokers have everything about you. Your shoe size, your ex's name, even your
What an
address. And
ibis.
it's not just creepy, it's out of control. Like thousands of companies collecting and selling your personal information without you even knowing. Your full name, email address,
I mean, you
shopping
could get
history,
some, yeah.
family members, they know it all. And sure, you can ask them to delete it, but good luck. I mean, it's a paper chase that could take forever. And that is why I've teamed up with today's sponsor, Incogni. They make privacy easy. You sign up, you give them permission, and boom, they handle the mess for you. They contact data brokers, file removal requests, and push through any rejections so you don't have to. Plus, Incogni now has unlimited and family unlimited plans with custom removals, meaning if your information shows up on those creepy people search websites, Incogni's got your back. And it's simple. You sign up, you authorize them, and when your information pops up on those sketchy sites, flag it with Incogni and let custom removals handle the rest. Your personal data shouldn't be up for sale, so scan that QR code or head to incogni.com/DeFranco and use code DeFranco to get 60% off. That's incogni.com/DeFranco, code DeFranco to take your personal data off the market. But then next up from that in the news, the American Bar Association is now suing the White House for attacking their profession. You've got the nation's largest organization of lawyers now accusing Donald Trump of using, quote, the vast powers of the executive branch to coerce lawyers and law firms to abandon clients, causes, and policy positions he doesn't like. And the ABA is largely referring to several executive orders that Trump signed targeting law firms known for representing or employing people on his shit list. And these orders, they not only canceled these firms as federal contracts, they also canceled their security clearances, locked them out of federal buildings, and barred them from even speaking to various government officials. With then some firms striking deals to avoid or get out of this punishment, offering tens of millions of dollars worth of pro bono work in exchange, which then, of course, has been seen by many as just cowardice and capitulation, and in some cases leading top partners to quit and take their talents elsewhere. And that is, firms that have actually stood up, they have time and time again won court rulings in their favor. But that doesn't mean that there's no impact, and you have the ABA claiming that the president's policy is working as designed, saying that the president's law firm intimidation policy has, by design, cast a deep chill over the legal profession, with them noting that some firms, they've stopped taking on work that may have them clashing with the federal government. They also pointed to reporting from outlets like the Washington Post that found that Biden-era officials and certain nonprofits are having a hard time finding lawyers to represent them, which is why they're filing this lawsuit, seeking a more sweeping ruling against the White House's actions rather than just one executive order targeting one law firm. With the ABA's president, William Bay, saying, while some firms are now protected by specific court orders, there's thousands of lawyers who are not party to those cases and don't have the resources to withstand that intimidation, and we're standing up for them. But then with all that, as far as what's happening on the other side, you had White House spokesperson Harrison Fields calling the lawsuit clearly frivolous and adding, the president has always had discretion over which contracts the government enters into and who receives security clearances, and saying his exercise of these core executive functions cannot be dictated by the ABA, a private organization, or the courts, and saying the administration looks forward to ultimate victory on this issue. So now we're going to have to to wait to see how all that plays out. I think it's also important to know that this is not the first time that the administration has clashed with the ABA. In the past, they've accused the association of being unfair to conservatives. And so in April, for example, you had the Justice Department barring its attorneys from participating in the group's events, which had been normal for years. And the Trump administration actually revoked the ABA's access to non-public information on judicial nominees, with Attorney General Pam Bondi saying at the time that the ABA had, quote, lost its way, and we do not believe it serves as a fair arbiter of judicial nominees. And so again, we're gonna have to wait to see what happens, but I will say, separate from the news, this part is just my opinion. Based off of what we've seen from Trump since he became president again, it really does seem like this is all part of a revenge campaign. It's really just a question of, is it a legal revenge campaign? As well as, even if it is illegal, can you still do it to the point that it just dissuades people from ever wanting to challenge you or work with people that you don't want them to work for? And that last question is probably the most important one, because once again, the law firms have been winning in court over and over. But then shifting gears from that to a different kind of news as we begin to wind down today's show, I want to talk to you about Peter Mutabazi. Because Peter, he was born in a village on the border of Uganda and Rwanda. And things, they were rough for his entire childhood. I mean, he ran away from his parents' home at the age of 10 to escape an abusive situation, and he spent the next 5 years homeless. Peter's saying, life was really miserable because of poverty. I didn't feel hope. I didn't see it. For me, hoping was lying to myself. And he added that street kids were treated like stray animals in Uganda. And so he learned how to survive, helping people carry their groceries in exchange for something to eat. But then the day came that someone saw Peter as more than a stray. I'm saying that one day while he was doing his usual routine, helping people with groceries, he came upon a man who was different from the rest. A man who helped Peter for a year and a half, and every time he brought groceries, he made sure that Peter got something to eat. And eventually, this guy, he sits Peter down and he offered to send him to boarding school, with Peter saying that that act of kindness, it changed his life forever. With Peter then going on to earn a bachelor's degree, and he moved to London to study crisis management before moving to the US in 2002 to study theology. And since then, he has paid it forward. He has dedicated his career to child advocacy organizations. In 2006, he actually started Compassion International, and now he's a senior advocate at World Vision. Still, he wanted to do more, saying, when I came to the United States, I really struggled seeing how much food was thrown away when I lost members of my family for a lack of beans and potatoes. This person shared with me that there are kids in the United States that had no food, and he explained more about fostering. The matting, I was like, wait a minute, I feel like I can relate to these kids. I thought I ought to do something for others. Well, at first, he was concerned that he wasn't qualified because, he's single, but after some research, he realized that's just not true, and he enrolled in a licensing class for foster parents. With him fostering his first kid in 2017, and since then, he has fostered 47 different kids, with him saying that his ultimate goal is to always reunite kids with their families, and adding, you're giving an opportunity for the parents to go through whatever they need to. And
one of those large skill injectors did sell.
I will foster until the child has somewhere to go, and adding, if there is no one else, I want to be their final dad. And he is a man that talks the talk and walks the walk. He has become the final dad to 3 kids already, and he's in the process of adopting another 3. And his first adoption was a kid by the name of Anthony.
Seems like too much.
And Anthony came to Peter a year earlier at 11 years old, and it was only supposed to be for a weekend. But then, before long, Peter learned that Anthony just didn't have anywhere else to go, and Anthony, who's now 19, says that he knew right away that he wanted Peter to be his dad, saying, I just had this gut feeling. He has been there by my side, helping to support me in finding myself. With Peter then going on to adopt 2 biological siblings, Luke and Isabella, in 2023 after fostering them for years. Now he's planning to adopt 3 kids that he's currently fostering, with one of them being Luke and Isabella's little sister, with Peter saying, I always want to keep siblings together. It lessens the trauma. And so with those 6 and all the other kids he's fostered, there just seems to be something special about Peter. Because even seeing the executive director of the foster agency that he works with saying, I've had kids that Peter is probably the only person that could reach this kid. He seems to have a knack for getting kids, figuring out what they need, and then providing that. It's a life passion for Peter, and you can see that in his work. And so with that compassion and that dedication and just being someone for someone that has no one, you are our BAMF of the day, sir. But that is where your show is going to end today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow, because remember, I got a brand new show for you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. I love you. Mean it. Bye.
Where am I now? Oh, no. Oh, never mind. I'm good. Nice. Sorry, I'm talking to an old friend and it's taking a minute. Okay, sorry. Got distracted. Okay, gotta get to work. Sorry. Been shirking my job here, and I'm terribly sorry. I don't usually do that to you guys. The Chinese spy working in New York. Okay, by Trap University.
From a Chinese spy working in the state government of New York for over a decade to a Chinese billionaire disappearing with the aid of secret Chinese police stations, this is the story of Chinese espionage. Now, on January 28, 2017, Zhao Zhihua is sitting in his apartment at the luxurious Four Seasons Hotel in Hong Kong. He was among the richest men in China until he fled in 2013 after falling out of favor with the big boys, aka the Chinese Communist Party. Shortly before this, he had deep connections with the family of Xi Jinping, the undisputed leader of China. He even used the company he co-founded to help the brother and sister of Xi Jinping's wife to dispose of some of their assets, as rich people do. But at some point, this all went wrong, which is pretty much the worst thing that can happen to you as a wealthy Chinese person. And cause for his detention came out in 2013, which caused him to flee to Hong Kong. And around this time, he purchased property in Canada and acquired a Canadian citizenship, probably so he'd never have to face the music back home, but it just wasn't enough. On this day in January, surrounded by his troop of female bodyguards, either 5 or 6 plainclothes agents from the mainland appeared at his unit for a meeting with him. After this, he was led away from the hotel with 2 of his bodyguards, and then, according to some sources, he was whisked away across the border back into China in a wheelchair with his head covered, likely knocked unconscious by these Chinese agents. Once he arrived back in China, he was brought up on charges of fraud and corruption and was sentenced to 13 years in Chinese prison. Now, you may have heard about the strange disappearances of Chinese billionaires from other YouTube channels, and you may have even heard about the secret Chinese police stations found to be operating in New York City by the FBI. But have you ever tried to connect the dots between the two? And if the Chinese government can do this, what else have they gotten away with right under our noses? According to Safeguard Defenders, a human rights organization based in Madrid that monitors disappearances in China, from 2014 to 2022, at least 10,000 Chinese nationals were forcibly removed or kidnapped from foreign countries and returned back to China as part of an operation called Fox Hunt, which is insane and probably illegal. Allegedly, this operation was created to target Chinese citizens that left the mainland and then began to criticize the CCP, which they don't take lightly in case you were wondering, and I, as an American citizen, in fact, might be ruining the possibility of any future trip I might plan to China just by making this video. Anyway, in 2023, the FBI announced that 2 American citizens were arrested in New York for opening and operating an illegal overseas police station, Harry Jianwang and Chen Jinping, and there's at least 100 of these covert police stations worldwide. Now, what is extraordinary rendition? It is a state-sponsored abduction by a foreign country, and the best-known example of this is probably when Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency, hunted down an SS officer that escaped to Argentina and flew him back to stand trial in Jerusalem. But of course, no one used this policy more than the CIA. Now, the Chinese government says these secret police stations only exist to act as some sort of consulate that provides services to Chinese nationals living abroad, like providing you a plane ride back to China to face charges if you ever get out of line. Although this is a clear violation of human rights and national sovereignty, since, most of these other countries don't want secret Chinese police stations in them, I must admit that I am impressed with the level of espionage I've gone over so far, and definitely the things we will cover later in this video. Although relaxing in a foreign country, thinking you have finally escaped your homeland's reach only to wake up to spies at your door who are going to take you back against your will is a terrifying prospect, I must admit that I love a good spy story. I know, as an American.
Okay, so we're gonna say, so I had a conversation with my friend LH, and when I refer to you. Okay, so I gotta do a shout out here for my friend, and I got him at a good time when he was able to weigh in. So I have a friend who I've known since I was 14 years old named LH. And and I asked him what he thought about these people killing. I'm gonna repeat this conversation sans any personal information, right? I'm gonna keep it completely clean to not expose this person's identity or who they are to me or anything like this. They are just a good friend who lives in the Twin Cities, which is Minneapolis and what's the other one? St. Paul and Minneapolis, I believe are called. Let's do the Wikipedia on the Twin Cities. The Twin Cities are what they call Minneapolis and St. Paul. I nailed it, right? I'm not stupid or ignorant about where he's from either. I'm not. I would have liked to have gone out there and see his city. But, I don't do the Northeast because I'm scared of the Northeast. I never have a good time when I go to the Northeast. Places like Nebraska and Ohio and North Dakota, they bring out the worst in me, and I know this. Iowa, I've been all through those states. Now, I haven't been to Minneapolis, though, so I would like to just go, and I probably will in my lifetime, probably go visit. Gonna come visit you some point in my lifetime, I promise. I can't, I'm not gonna make that promise to him because I don't know, I might be dead, I don't really know, I can't make that promise though. So, anyways, So, Minneapolis, St. Paul is a metropolitan area in the upper Midwestern United States centered around the confluence of the Mississippi, Minnesota, and St. Croix rivers in the U.S. state of Minnesota. It is commonly known as the Twin Cities after the area's two largest cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. Minneapolis sits mostly on the west side of the Mississippi River on lake-covered terrain, which I didn't know. I didn't know the Mississippi River was I didn't know Minneapolis sat on the Mississippi River. That's awesome. Although most of the city's residential neighborhoods, it has a business-dominated downtown area like Denver. Yeah, I've always thought of Minneapolis as being the closest city to Denver, short of Seattle. I think Seattle and Denver and Minneapolis and Austin, and Portland, Oregon, to a lesser degree. Or I mean, I don't know. I would say Minneapolis is far more right leaning than Denver. Well, no, Denver and Minneapolis are fairly right leaning. Actually, they're very right leaning. They're if not full blown red. Seattle has always been blue, so I wouldn't really lump Seattle in with Minneapolis or Denver. There's more of a southwest northeast vibe to Minneapolis and Denver than there is like a kind of a west coast vibe in Seattle. You know, there's kind of differences to these places, and I don't wish to downplay those differences. Lumping in Minneapolis with Denver or Seattle or something might even be an insult to some people, and I get a little bit worried about that. But it's just sort of like, you know, Minneapolis is a wonderful city. You can see it here from the picture. It's a wonderful, wonderful city. It looks exactly like Denver. It looks exactly like Seattle, looks exactly like Austin. It looks a lot like really cool, badass cities in this country, right? So I asked my friend LH if I could ask him for his editorial, unedited opinion about what happened with the shooting in the Twin Cities recently. Now we're gonna take a minute here and go and take a look at the shooting, and we're gonna remind ourselves what happened, because it's like I don't think I've even actually looked at the direct like YouTube video about what happened with Minneapolis shooting, right? The Minneapolis lawmaker assassination, right? Or whatever, I don't know. It'll pull what I'm looking for, though. Suspect in Minnesota lawmaker.
The 57-year-old suspect in the killing of a state lawmaker and her husband has been caught and is now facing murder charges, among other charges. Investigators.
So I asked him what he thought about this, and I think he summed it up in a sentence exactly what would take me a week to say. So
using helicopters, surveillance drones, as well as infrared technology.
And so we found out later, this guy, he went down the road from like lawmaker to lawmaker's house, and it's just a crazy fucking time, right? So I said, hello, LH. I wonder if I could ask you for your editorial, unedited opinion about what happened, and we got to make a timestamp of this, so I'm going to separate these videos. Give me just a second. I'm going to say I talked to a friend from the Twin Cities about what they think about the Minnesota lawmaker shootings, right? So I'm going to stop this video. Yep.